Hello everyone, Connor here. Just as a small disclaimer, some things we may talk about on the pod shouldn't be attempted or recreated. Remember to keep everything legal, keep it between the ages, and don't tear up the ground while you're on the pull.
Well, there's all
Do you just give it a wee push?
just a wee push along, and then I'll cut it in orbit, and then I'll edit whenever one of us goes so or something along the lines of that. It's really the fact that we stumble quite a lot makes it really handy to edit, and like that, I'll edit off that, and then I'll basically join them and put one on top of the other, and it sounds seamless. So whenever you're listening, you can't tell. Like, I'm so anal about it. Like, you can't tell when there's been, like, a change in transition.
Well, as long as you're moving your hands and not your ass, it'll be alright. It's mad that we're just talking in a fucking shed here for a year and a half.
Nearly 2 years. Well, it's October. And what was the first episode went out, February 2023?
Yeah.
So we're closer to 2 years than we are a year and a half, nearly at this point.
True. You have a very good point there.
Which is mental.
Very mental.
Think you can do the intro in one take yet? Without looking at your phone?
There's no fucking choice. I can't mind where we put it. Aye. So, hello everybody. Welcome to Limited Slip Differences podcast, which is the Agri Automotive podcast.
It is indeed.
Brought to you by Limited Slip Differences.
Funny that.
Yeah, it's funny that, isn't it? We seem to talk a lot about drifting, a lot about cars, a lot about tractors, tractor pulling, silage.
We did talk about cows last week.
We did talk
about cows. So the cars to cows slogan.
I re-listened to talking about cows, and
I didn't catch. So here's a confession. I didn't catch on when you kept saying calved heifers. I kept thinking you meant heifers that had just been calved, as in like they were basically like 4 months old, rather than heifers that had been calved. And I was listening back to it because I was like going, no, like you wouldn't be doing this. And you're like, no, but calved heifers. And I was just like, I'm actually a fucking dick. I didn't catch on to that at all until I think I was nearly halfway through or near the end, and then the wee light bulb came on. I went, hold on, this is what he's talking about.
oh really?
Yeah.
So you thought I was just talking about heifer calves?
Yes.
Not calved heifers.
Yes. Which till maybe the car people listening to this maybe doesn't sound any different, but
So the terminology of a heifer calf is a female calf,
yes,
but the terminology of a calved heifer is obviously
reproduced.
a cow that's been served and has then had her first child.
Yes.
Or had her first calf.
Yes.
So that's just terminology.
So I got completely mixed up. Like, even though I know exactly what you mean, like I was just listening back to it going, how did I in my head I was like I just mixed that up and ran with that for the entire podcast, and I was like, I am an actual dick.
It's not even that, right? So you started talking, I was like, well, like, what machinery or something along them lines would you buy? And you went in a fucking 10-minute rambling session.
For you to just turn around and go, you'd buy a Fiat, wouldn't you? Yeah.
You went into about the price of tractors.
You knew what I was leading up to, like.
But the amount of fucking dribble. You know?
But I mean, you have to give the podcast some context.
I'll never forget the night you lifted turbo, right? And Sam Cole, he said, so what does a hybrid turbo mean? And you went on, so what you would do is, and you went on to about, so you get this like this and that like that, and hands started moving, and then you pointed to different things, and just the same thing came out of the mouth over and over again. And then at the point I was like, all right, I get it. So the actual fin inside this to turn round would be bigger on this side than that side, and you were like, aye.
Yeah.
I was like, and then Sam was like, I know, like, geez, that was 15 minutes just to get that out.
Yeah, I know. I started talking, then realised, shit, do I know what I'm talking about? and then I keep talking, and I'm like, no, hold on, I do know what I'm talking about. But by that stage, I've went through 10 minutes of pure like filler, going, and the outside and the inside and the
no,
fin.
you don't stutter. You just continue going on. And then you explain.
That's even worse. Oh God, no wonder people think I'm annoying.
Do they?
So, has there been anything? Well, before we even get into that, you're Connor, aren't you? You're Connor.
Yeah.
And I am Michael.
I was like, what am I?
And we are in episode 45.
That's right, aye.
We're in episode 45.
I actually was going to look at the phone again, but then
you've just realised you're in a lock screen, so you can't even do anything anyway. So we're in episode 45. So we'll kick into it.
Will we?
Well, we can do. Well, we're here now and we're recording. What else are you proposing here? Like, if you decide you're not gonna like do anything, I'm kind of bit here. Like, it's kind of is the context of our podcast. Like, if you're like, no, I'm not gonna talk, it's like, right, well, no one wants to listen to me for 2.5 hours. So
this is why we have filler.
Yeah.
There's 90 seconds
of pure trouble. Right. Well, is there anything new?
Well, when did we last record?
Nearly 2 weeks ago. I think like we recorded on Tuesday, 2 weeks ago. Today's Monday, I think.
Aye, so obviously we recorded the audio for the video there last Thursday.
Yes. The video itself came out on Sunday.
Yes, we got more slurry out on Saturday, which was a great job. I was at a wedding there on Friday down at Killeavy Castle outside Newry. Lovely spot.
It's meant to be some spot.
It's
meant to be unreal.
Andrew Ritchie and Ciara Warnock got married.
Very good.
It was a lovely day. I actually was fairly sensible. Some spot, like you've where the castle is, they've like a function thing behind it. So you're walking through the castle. You've all obviously the decor and all around it, and then you walk through into the bigger function room. You know. Then Thursday. So one thing so whenever we were recording the audio, you know, for that
Thursday
King of the Rings video,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So I arrived up to yours, and you're like, "Sure, we'll watch through the video."
Yes. That's what we done the first time we done the Donegal video, and it did help, I think, because it rehashed it in my head.
Well, I hadn't seen it before, so I needed something to go off.
Yeah.
So, plus, unlike King of the King of the Rings, I kind of wasn't there for most of the day.
Yeah, you can even see that in the clips and the videos that we took, like because your phone has like kind of a different filter than mine and how it records. I think your phone's like whiter than mine.
Right.
If you look at if you compared footage.
So you mean the HDR is more?
Aye. Yes. Whatever. That thing.
Do you not record your phone in HDR?
I record mine as full HD because if it's any higher than that, if I go Ultra HD or 8K, forget about it. Like it's
no. Well, I record full HD 60, but what I mean is your phone HDR enabled?
Oh.
Well, then, I don't know, just Samsung versus iPhone, right? Anyway, so...
You can even see it with the Donegal videos. Your camera just looks a bit... You can see, if you were eagle-eyed enough, you could tell which videos have been recorded in my phone and which videos have been recorded in your phone. Genuinely.
You were doing the editing, so you would have picked it up, yeah.
But like, if I pointed it out to you, it'd be fairly obvious. But so, you do know what I'm saying is you do notice that because there's... After a while, you don't really see any clips from your phone. Because I think you got to like 2 o'clock or something, and then that was you away for obvious reasons.
Yeah. So anyway, we sat down, we were watching it, and there were certain bits where I was like, "Oh, I'll say this there, and I'll say that there." Then we got to the fucking recording bit, and I think I said it to you at the time. This is me taking the piss now, Michael. But it was so with video of Nathan and Dion going round, and then the video of you driving Dion's car.
Yes.
And I was going to go like, oh, this is where he goes, oh shit, and then hit the bumper. My goodness me, Michael spent that long explaining himself driving it and that. I was like, where am I going to get this in? Didn't get it in. And
I was actually originally going to do a thing with that and became meme that, but then because it was recorded in landscape and not portrait, it would look shit for TikTok. That's not your fault. It's for the video, you were always going to be recording in landscape, so it wouldn't have looked good for TikTok. And then on top of that, because the podcast video didn't go properly because it was blurry.
Fair enough, yeah.
The last podcast, so I can't use any clips of us from the last podcast.
True. It seems to be a growing theme that we have significant technical
Swear
difficulties.
to God, spend more money in kit, more problems. Like the first setup we had, which was like the old 2 microphone sound card and the GoPro.
It didn't break.
Not a sync. Never an issue with loading up the sound.
No.
Never an issue with the camera.
Like the laptop, as I'm looking at it currently, is lagging behind what I'm saying.
Oh shit! Really?
No, it always does this.
Oh.
Whereas the other one was just like really smooth, and then as soon as you spoke, it came up. But anyway, no, that was good. I wasn't hungover this time while I was recording. So it helped.
That's a big help. You're not fucked. But then, to be fair, like we were watching it, and I was like, "Are you all right?" And you were like, I'm concentrating," and I was like, "Good point."
Yes.
Good thinking, Batman.
Now, don't get me wrong. At times, whenever we were watching it and trying to speak, I was like, microphone away. I was like, fuck, I just got out of time and I thought, oh, Jesus Christ.
It was, because obviously you came in, we sat and chatted shit for ages, then we watched it, and then as soon as we watched it, we had to go again. But to be fair, I remember thinking to myself, I was like, fuck, this is going to be a long night. But we had it, I think we were like...
It was a lot faster watching it while talking than it was watching it.
Yeah, we were like 37 minutes in, and the video was, 52 minutes long or something like that. And we were 37 minutes in, and I was like, fucking hell, that's flew through.
So, Imogen actually, she wrote a comment under it to say that we got the kit wrong. And then I realised, I think we both got the kit wrong.
We did, but someone told me it was a Vertex kit, so I took their word for granted.
I think it was me.
Oh. But she does have a V2 front bumper, doesn't she?
She does.
Yeah.
So she did like what? Rob Bell did? John Bell? Rob Bell?
Rob.
Okay.
He's Rob to those that know him.
Right.
His name actually is Rob. It's just, there's a story behind it. Like,
okay.
Maybe someday.
Is it like Dan Fitz's Instagram name?
Not quite. There's a story involving a Honda Civic, and I'll tell you it offline. But
we'll probably forget about it.
It's actually quite funny. But he's developed a whole like personality kind of around it, sort of thing. Like it's kind of become him. But it's funny, you hear people referring to him and going like, "Oh, I was talking to John Bell," and I'm sitting there. Reload podcast, for instance, like Conor McCann and Reload. Like he's like, "Oh, I seen John Bell," and I'm sitting there going, "It's fucking Rob." And Conor listens and Rob listens, so they're both going to hear that. But
he doesn't have like two different personalities, no.
I don't think so. No. But it's funny because his Instagram, or I think it's maybe his TikTok at one point, was like the real John Bell, and I was like, that's so ironic because it's not even his fucking name.
So it's he's
Robert John Bell, but that's another story.
Oh, right, okay.
But like, yeah.
What's your middle name?
James Cosmos. Did you know that?
What?
Michael James Cosmos Scullin.
Cosmos?
Yeah. That's why our lawnmower's called Cosmos.
What?
Yeah, our wee mum's wee robotic lawnmower. It's her favourite child now. It actually does what it's told on time. And it's there at home all the time. Whereas I'm not.
How do you spell that?
Cosmas. Originally my dad wanted it to be my first name. And my mom was like, no, Don, he'll get bullied. Joke's on you, Dad. Got bullied anyway. So, yeah.
Cosmos?
Cosmos, yeah.
I've never heard of that name before.
Seriously, did you not know that?
No.
I'm unsure whether to put this bit live.
CS. So you're Michael...
James Cosmos Scullin. Confirmation name was Donal.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the multitude of names.
So are you Michael James then, or... Is it James Cosmos? So you're Michael James Cosmos Scullin.
Michael James Cosmos Scullin. It's like 3 names.
Michael James Cosmos
Scullin.
Or
Donal.
Michael James Cosmos Donal Skull. Jeez, that's a tongue twister.
You're Connor Patrick, aren't you?
I'm Connor Patrick Joe McGowan.
Paddy Joe. You're not a Paddy Joe, like.
I'm CPJ MCG.
And what was your confirmation name?
Joseph.
Oh, right, I thought you were...
I'm CP MCG.
I'm MJCDS. Fucking, I know.
That is an engineering firm if ever there was one.
MJCDS. Engineering. Did you get them parts made by MJCDS? No, but I got them ones made by MCJDS. Yeah, no, that's my middle name. I don't know where I'll put that live or not.
I leave that up to you. Wow, we have talked some shite.
Ah, fuck it, I might just leave it on. Yeah, so that's my middle name.
To be fair, I thought it was very creative at the time, but now I'm just like, I don't know how to feel about it. Imagine a man calling their fucking Instagram name Scully-tastic.
Scully-tastic. Yeah.
That's a man with confidence, isn't it?
I don't know, I thought it was quite funny. I was actually originally going to call it Skulldog Millionaire.
That's quite fun. Yeah.
So, and then I was like, then there wasn't enough characters.
Oh, that's a bit shit.
So I was like, oh. So then I was like, well, what's fantastic? I think at the time, you know what I say, like things, you know at the minute, like my thing is unbelievable or unreal.
Aye, under every video to do with you now.
Yeah, there's
somebody is just writing in.
Yeah. Yeah, just that is ... real. Yeah, under every video.
Yeah.
I say it a lot, like, but I think around that time I had a saying where I was going like, oh, that's fantastic. So then it became Scully-tastic, just as a name. It was, but that was back during a time.
I can't even talk. Mine, it used to be that blue polo.
But sure, that was during a time, like, fuck me, on Instagram, how many times did I change my name? Like, it was Juice 207, it was That Stance Peugeot, it was That Stance Pug.
That is one of the biggest icks I now have.
Like that, something.
Or static polo. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a different time, but
mad to say it's basically 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I found out actually, Creth, had seen my old car around Ballymoney.
Yeah, that still exists. I seen it in Portlanone.
Did you?
Yeah. No, Creth has seen it since me.
Yeah.
I seen it in Portlanone a couple of months ago, like.
Fair play, like.
Outside the pizza box.
Doesn't he die?
Good wee car, probably still in the original clutch.
I don't think now, no.
Oh.
There was minis of burnout done in the original clutch after I had it. After it done like 185,000 miles.
Did you do any burnouts in the original clutch?
No, just, you always said that.
You just blipped?
Yeah.
Everywhere. Mr. Blippy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blippy's 99s. That's what we used to call you.
What?
You know, like Whippy 99 ice creams. Yeah, Blippy's 99s. That's what we used to call you.
I never heard this. This must have been behind my back.
Me and Adam.
That was definitely behind my back.
Speaking of Adam, actually, maybe I'll not like me bringing this up in the pod, but when we're talking about old times.
Yeah. After talking about doing the video last week. Continue, Michael.
So, Adam McCartney, close friend of both of us.
Is he a friend of the pod?
He is a friend of the pod.
Is he a friend of you?
He's a friend of you. He's a friend of me too. Friend of you. Friend of me too. He's a friend of mine and a friend of yours. No, so Adam had his yellow Lexus, which is, to be fair, quite a notorious car.
I actually drove him to fucking get that.
Yeah, so you drove him to get that car in 2016.
And I was in the back seat as the previous owner was taking him for a test drive.
Seriously?
Yes.
It was Ryan Lorimer originally had it before
I know.
him.
Yep, we went down to Newton Abbey for it.
Yes. Ryan, what has he now? He had a bagged Altezza there for a while.
He had
but I think he got
a cream Type R for a long time as well.
Yes, he did, and then he had the bagged Altezza, and I think Regal bought it off him. I can't remember what Ryan has now. Is it an M3 or something, or maybe a C60?
He's always had something really nice.
He always had something nice. So Ryan and the likes of Curtis Stewart and all them boys always had nice cars, to be fair, but nice people do whenever, because Curtis used to store his car here years ago. Do you remember that white Merc?
Oh, yes.
He used to store the white Merc down here. Some track from Newton Abbey to come down here, but fair play to him. But what was I going to say? So I don't know if any of you have seen the video that Mark Weir put up of yellow Lexus getting destroyed. HJZ. So the amount of videos and pictures of HJZ in this yard parked beside my Sierra and probably your Polo is unreal. Genuinely, like
the last photo taken that day that it was bought, he had the A6, my car. I took a photo of my car, the Civic and the thing, because basically what he was moving till and then what I ended up moving till.
I have a photo of you, him, and was Calvin there the night that it went? I think he was.
No.
Was it just me, you, and him?
Just me, you,
the
and
night
him.
It went on the trailer.
The day it went.
I have a photo of you and him standing and looking at it while it's on the trailer.
Yeah.
As well. It's just mad. Like, you talk about seeing something and going like, fucking hell. Like, I looked at that and I was just like, you know, you watch the video and to be honest, I did struggle to watch it because I just think of like, I know what he's doing is the same like as what Whistling Diesel was doing, and it is obviously quite funny. Like, but at the same time, I was looking at that going like, you know, like I seen like that car was about like that car is part of my like sort of my memory from that time. Like,
it's part of your life.
Well, part of my, I was going to say childhood, but it was probably my young adulthood. Is that a good way to describe it?
I would say your 20s.
Aye, part of my early 20s, like, but that doesn't sound as good as it was part of my childhood. But we'll roll with it. So, like, you know, like I went to Donegal and all in that car, like, you know,
so
to the port in that car. Like,
so did I.
Yeah, you went to probably Mondello in that car, I would say.
I did, and it was very fucking comfortable because the seats you changed in it were ones, and they were not. There was no fucking room in that car.
No, not good.
With them bigger seats.
No.
And then he sat key banging it, and then he was worried because the starter was sort of going out on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, stop key banging. It was like, but it's so fun. And I'm like, no.
It used to be, whatever.
I
have a video of him and Jonathan Krath's Lexus as well, which also hasn't moved in a heap of years at this point. But Krath's Lexus was one of the best key bangs I ever heard.
Yes.
Like whatever way it was set up or whatever Krath managed to do it literally sounded like anti-like. There is a picture of him leaving, or a video of him leaving like one of the car shows in Ballymoney years ago, and someone posting up saying Lexus IS200 anti-lag. In fact, better yet, whenever the whole keybang thing had sort of started and not everybody knew what it was yet, I can remember me and Krath were coming down the main hill in Port Stewart, down towards like the harbour, and like Krath started keybang, and I looked up and I seen David Gordon staring with his mouth open, hand holding a drink, just staring. And Krath was like literally key banging, and you just heard bam, 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 like the bangs out of her. And I just remember him staring, and I wish I had got a photo of it and sent it to him, like, because he just was looking at it going, huh? Like, so shout out to David, like, but I just remember seeing that, and I was like, that is, because like, at that time nobody was doing that.
It fairly quickly caught on to everybody.
It did fairly quickly catch on, yeah, after that. But at the time, nobody else knew that. So, because I remember Adam and Krath got shown it by some lad in a red IS200 at Donegal Rally. And then whenever Adam was able to do it, it was like, and then Krath done it with his car. And the bangs it done, your man just sort of looked at Krath and just went, oh, yeah, that sounds a lot better than mine. So, I don't know. After your man showed us and Krath and Adam started doing it, everybody seemed to catch on.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Your man probably told like 50 people that at Donegal Rally weekend, and it probably spread. I like to think we're the trendsetters here, but we're probably not.
I would say more that maybe Adam and Johnny are the trendsetters, considering that we didn't have IS200s at the time.
No. I had a blue one slightly after that, but...
You didn't have that car long, no?
No, I sold it to Krath.
Did you not buy it off him?
No, I bought it off Conor McCullum.
Oh.
And I drove it home with 5 cylinders. Deffed it in 5 cylinders, key banged it in 5 cylinders.
How long did you have it?
Me and Calvin took a few parts out of it and then sold it to Krath for cheap. He wanted it like as a parts car. He ended up using it as a parts car.
Oh, right.
As far as I'm aware. Or did I? I'm pretty sure he got a few parts out of it anyway, eh?
So, yes. To actually go back into what I was talking about. So, yes, I fucked up on what body kit was in Imogen's car.
Yes.
And then the rest of the video seemed very good. I don't really know what else to say about it.
It was quite a... See, to be honest, I think I spoke about this.
It was very self-explanatory.
I wish my phone was starting to die, and now I have like the extra charger and all, like which would have been a godsend at the time.
Do you go into them things with 100% battery?
Mm-hmm.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, your phone must...
When it's filming, rinses
do
the camera.
you like close all your apps and stuff?
Probably not, no.
Do you go into your battery and see what's actually killing your battery?
Airplane mode.
No, but do you go into your battery to see what's actually killing your battery?
Aye, my camera.
Other than your camera?
No.
Because my camera does not really kill that badly.
No, my...
King of the Cone right enough after all the hours of video and kind of started...
See, I started recording at 10:30, and like the phone sort of started to go faulty around about, I'd say around like, and that was in the middle of the day. I took it back to the pickup and charged it for a while too. It's grand till it gets to about 40%, and then see from 40%.
Bye bye.
You just look at it, funny, and it just goes down to 10. Like, but yeah, like the camera dies, and then like I had to use Becca's phone to record like half the stuff for the top 16 in the end. And Becca's, you can tell the difference between.
It's not a bad phone.
Not a bad phone, but you can tell the difference between a phone that's just a phone and a phone that's been set up for like picture quality and stuff. Like literally, when the Samsung, it's the same with the iPhone. Like when they came out, like there was literally all these things about photographers being like, I've been asked to do a shoot with a Samsung S23 Ultra, and like these are the pictures I can get, and it's like the pictures he's getting were absolutely class.
Yeah.
You know, it is. I know people still look at you and go, he's recording on his phone, but like,
you have to think about all these TikTok ones and stuff for recording on their phone, you know.
The phone, well, Even Flow is all done on mobile phones.
Is it?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Even Flow's all done. Well, so Andrew Martin was saying, it's all done on mobile phone.
But like mobile phone is as good as really point and shoot, and to get as good a point and shoot now you're looking £1,000 really, like for a good DSLR, and then you need a gimbal and all that crack.
I would consider investing in a gimbal next.
Aye, for your phone.
Well, the phone, I'll do the camera as well, because it was actually quite handy at the weekend. Although I need to play about a bit with the camera to not use my phone. And then I was able to use my phone for like certain bits that I was like, oh no, right,
you need to probably buy a mic for the camera.
I have a mic for it.
Oh?
Yeah, I have like a wee trailed mic or like a wired mic.
Aye, like that plugs into it.
Yeah, see the mic I have that I use with my phone doesn't work on that. I tried.
Oh?
I thought you could get Bluetooth and all to go through it, but it doesn't work. It's quite annoying. You have to use the setup, and you can buy like a version off Sony that's like, I don't know, £200.
Oh?
Which I'm not doing. Like my camera cost me, or my mic cost me £17.
I know, fuck that.
Like, and what I basically was doing was at LZ Fest, which I'll get onto in a bit, I had the phone mic clipped to here, and then the camera mic clipped up the inside. And because the camera was always going into my pocket or into my bag, it was never far away. So it just stayed, and the microphone cable is really long, and the sound quality is not horrendous.
Fair enough.
So it's not too bad. You can tell the difference between the mics me and you use for the videos versus what the camera has, but all in all, it's not the end of the world.
I've lost the train of thought of what we were talking about. So we were talking about the video, or I was talking about what was new with me with the video and stuff, but the fact that you had your mouth open far too much at times, and I tried to keep up but couldn't keep up, and then I just spoke in where I could, and it was lovely, and it has over 1,000 views as we're recording this now.
Oh.
I just checked.
Sweet.
You had an apology made.
Yeah, I was going to get onto that actually. So there was this Way Alteza, the lad driving it was very good. It was the one you kept commenting about his boot opening.
That, yes, I understand now.
He was a good driver.
Well, I only commented on that because you said that the bit's open on them, but then surely an IS200 bit would also open.
Yeah, never had a problem with my 300 doing it, but my Alteza boot would have popped open.
You didn't have your 200 enough to know.
My 300.
Your 200 you didn't have long enough.
I didn't have it long enough to really know.
And Adam's bit didn't open.
No.
But it opens now.
Well, yeah. Yeah. But I suppose I had him down with a question mark, because I think his reg was like 99LK. I had like 99LK Way Alteza or something like that. And one of the other cars that was in was Connor Montgomery's. And it was between them. And I couldn't see the Way Alteza in the line. And Barry was like, look, you're going to have to make a decision. We need to move on here.
Yes.
And I was like, well, I run the risk of walking around here and this lad not even been here, because I didn't see him in the line.
Yes.
And I was like, he might not actually even be here.
Yeah.
Which would mean I'd have to come round the line again and see, to be honest, when you're walking through that line and everybody's staring at you. I just didn't. Is
it like I am the lottery man and these people are waiting to see if they won the lottery?
I felt like I was going to get lynched. Like, I was like...
but you take things to extremes, maybe, no?
Oh, yeah, I care far too much about what people think, like.
Ironically, yeah. To be fair, I actually just want to say one thing. I have now baffled myself with staring at the ground while being filmed.
Yeah. We'll need to work on that.
Slightly.
Yeah.
Just
slightly.
You could tell that I was not...
We'll get a good few bits at Tollerone.
All going well.
If you can get down to it, which hopefully you can.
I don't know what's crawling to me or whether there is something crawling to me, but do you ever get the vibe that there's something crawling on you?
No.
I feel like that right now because, yeah.
Do you want to take 5 and check?
I don't know. I don't.
But no, back to what I was saying about your mum and the white Altezza. So it was like, I didn't know if he was still there, and I didn't want to walk through that crowd again. So I was like, right, no, well, your other man who I was thinking about is literally here beside me. So I was like, I'll just take the chance. And then the next thing I seen the white Altezza, and I was like, oh. Because it would have been good to have had another Altezza, and because it literally was 13 IS 200s, one Altezza, an IS 300, and then Gary McInerney's BM. You know, it would have been good to have had something else, I guess, spice it up a wee bit. I already talked in the last podcast about how Dylan Cummins and all was there, and how I would have known I could have maybe have tried to have got him in, and there was a crack with Michael Naughton's car as well. You know, I was writing him down for a number when he clipped his back bumper. And
yeah, so it doesn't mean to say that you're saying that, oh, if you come there with a different car, that you'll just instantly get chosen, or that. It's like,
you're going to get put in the maybe list if you're half decent, but you know, it's easier if you're half decent and you're in a different car. I'm going to be able to watch you. Like, I'll notice you and go, oh, that's something different. Whereas, you know, like, you take like the amount of Lexuses there, as I kept saying, like in the video, like Colin Feeney, like it took me halfway through the day to just go for it to click with me and go, hold on, he's really good.
Yeah.
You know, because he's just in a blue Lexus. You know, even I was chatting to Michael McStravick today, and he was saying, you know, from a judge's perspective, like, what could you do different? And I was like, do you know, one of the things genuinely, I was like, this is going to sound maybe crazy, but I think because I'm not much of a driver, I'm looking for other things. And style points would be a big thing for me personally. Like Hayden Maher, not to take away from Hayden Maher's driving, but Hayden Maher caught our eye because he was the one with the silver
LE
I know,
like
on the Stroms, and when it came in, it was decked.
It's not to take away from anybody else's car, because at the end of the day, he's all spent thousands on them, but I don't know, it was just like,
that was eye-catching.
That fucking works.
That was eye-catching.
That looks nice, you know.
And whenever you see something come in that you just look at and go, holy shit, that is class. Like, that will catch your eye. It was like, there was another purple IS200 that a fella was in, and it had like the big kit on it, and I think it had the Evo spoiler.
I thought, it looked like an Evo spoiler, didn't it?
It had an Evo spoiler, and like I was looking at that, and you know, if that man had have been top 16, you know, pedigree, not to take away from his driving, but just, you know, if he had have been top 16 pedigree, like, he'd have probably been chosen in an instant, because I would have just seen his car and just went, right, let's watch this fella. And if he was putting on like a show like the rest of the guys that made it to the top 16 was, like, he'd have been picked instantly just because his car stood out, you know. So having something that stands out definitely helps. But we talked plenty about Granard in the last podcast and all as well.
Yes.
So
that's more or less what's due with me. It's only taken like 40 minutes to go through all that.
Well, one other thing as well, which I've been working on as well, and Connor, I'll need to pull you in for this.
Will you?
Oh, well, I've started doing a vlog of the 110 turbo conversion. So we talked about going up to Sam Cole. Me and you went to Sam Cole's there a couple of weeks back and left it an 8340 turbo. So basically, I done this, started doing a video and wanted to do like a pre-video explaining like the engine, explaining the manifold setup, and then I kind of wanted to do like a night ride style video where they kind of do a bit of everything. So like so in the video as well, like it's me explaining the setup, and then it's me boxing up the turbo and writing my name on it and delivering it to Turbos Ireland, who's doing the turbo for me at the minute. So, and then after that, I ended up installing a set of UTV headlights as well. I'll show them to you after this. They're a great job.
Night and day.
Honestly, Connor, like, see, I actually talk about this in the video. See, when we were doing your silage, like, see when you were coming past, what's the road where your man Jared Laverty's on? Is it the Carlane Road?
Carlane Road, aye.
See, when you were in the Carlane Road and you met one of the big deers with all the lights on.
You couldn't see anything.
I couldn't see nothing. Like, literally, I had to stop. I was stopping and hoping for the best that there wasn't a ditch that I was going to like hoof the tractor onto or something. After a while, you sort of get to know the road and you know where there's places to pull in at. But I would just pull in and stop because it was like I just couldn't see until I had the full beams back on again.
I don't get why they drive with every fucking light in the cab on.
I would too. Like,
I would not do that. No.
Well, I don't.
You'll actually see better at night time if you turn all your lights off.
Well, I don't drive with the work lights on, but I have my full beam now with them two lights I had plus the UTVs. is phenomenal. Like, it is so nominal. It's a new one. It's so good. So I started pulling together a video for that. I'm going to need you probably now, whenever I get the turbo back. I don't know how long that'll be. Could be a week, could be a month. I have no idea. I just left it down to him, and it'll be fixed when it's fixed. But I'll start measuring up like the oil lines and all that there, and then when I get the turbo back, I'll start getting like the bits off eBay and all that I need. And I'm not going to release the first video until I'm like through the second part, because I don't want it to be, oh, I've done this, I'm starting a turbo conversion on my tractor, and then something happens where suddenly the tractor needs to be used like all winter, and they're like, well, what happened to your turbo video? And I'm like, oh, it's coming at some point. And then all of a sudden it's silage next year and we're still no turbo. Because that's why I haven't done the turbo video before now. So I'm not going to release it until I have the turbo back and I'm literally ripping the manifold off.
Yeah, okay.
So that's my plan. But I'll need you to keep me right and help film, because I notice one thing when I'm filming myself, the camera gets a wee bit juddery.
Why is that?
No idea. Just just goes out of focus. And because you've one hand like on the camera and one hand pointing, you can't tap the screen to adjust focus. So I'll need you to probably do about that for me.
So we're going from diff games to farm games?
Yes. We're basically just redoing the video that Grassman did of turbocharging a 11090 a few years ago, which is probably a better video, but
shorter.
Yeah, I go in, but then I'm fitting the headlights as well, like in that video, and I'm going to do it in parts. So
is it the same turbo you're putting on as what they put on?
I don't know. Actually, I would say it probably is, to be honest. It probably is the same turbo. It's definitely the same turbo manifold.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm running my oil lines slightly differently.
Okay.
And mine's is going to be, like, as I say, mine's going to have, like, me taking the turbo, going and unboxing it and all that there, taking it back, explaining what's been done to the turbo, explaining why I have a second-hand turbo, blah, 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 stuff that people probably already know, but I'm going to tell them anyway. So it's a longer video, and basically if someone was like looking at me and going, I don't want to go and spend £1,900 on a scan turbo bit kit, like, could I do it myself and save a bit of money? Well, this is kind of what this video is aimed at being. So using good quality parts, I'm still going to get Andy Hamill to do all the stainless work. Kind of on two minds where I go for an intercooler at this point.
Okay.
But a lot of people on the Fate page saying for the power you're going for, it's not worth it. Keep it simple. Emmett Sherry also said keep it simple. But it's one of them things where I thought it'd be different.
Well, is your clutch good for the power you want?
See, I'm not going for mad power.
But for the power you want, is your clutch okay?
Aye. It does get harder on clutches.
Which it naturally would.
But I don't start off in high gears if I can avoid it. I won't start off in high second. I'll start off in high first regardless. I'll not come out of a road in at high second just because I think I can. I will go for high first anyway and drive her up the revs. I think that's one of the best ways to preserve the clutch, is not hanger. So, the tractor's not going to be any different, really. Only it'll just not die as much in a hill.
Fair enough.
That's my thinking anyway. We'll know a difference next year, your first cut. So,
yeah.
Assuming I'm there for that, which hopefully I am.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the Fate Turbo update. Will we move on till LZ Fest?
I know you're the boss.
Well, no, not really. There's two of us here. So we'll start into... So our main topic this week, and the reason why I kind of want to focus on LZ Fest is because I somehow managed to get a media pass, and it was really, really good and such a good experience. So in order to make sure they give me a media pass next year and they don't just think I was there to just walk around the pits, I want to put in a wee bit of effort and definitely, pay tribute to that. So I wanted to take this episode to do just talk about the event.
And to be fair, hopefully you'll do a better job at describing it than I did about Drift Masters, considering I was there and you weren't, and with LZ Fest / LZ World Tour, you were there and I wasn't.
It would have been really, really good to have you there. I know you couldn't go. It would have been top class to have had you there.
That's really thoughtful of you, Mike.
For the experience and everything.
See, Driftmasters, I was more than happy enough to be there myself, to be fair.
Yeah, but you weren't standing in the middle of the track.
No,
like,
I
taking
wasn't.
videos. Like,
No,
so
I wasn't.
that's the difference. You know, it was a completely different. Like, with Driftmasters, you're there to watch. I would say I did very little actual watching, if that makes sense.
You were there capturing the event.
The thing is, like, I've taken literally hundreds of videos, and if I use 5 of them, the reality is I'm taking videos for stuff to talk about.
Yes.
If that makes sense. So
to remember you.
Well, yes, that, but like.
So if I was watching the live stream, you were in the live stream just in the middle of the track.
Yeah, it probably would have been, yeah.
I never even thought about that. So you just see your big hat.
Yes. I'd say if you're able to watch it back, I don't know if you can.
You can, That's how I watched the Sunday, because you see, no disrespect to the LZ World Tour, but LZ World Tour was on, local football club was playing, and Man United were playing on the same day.
So you literally had 3 screens.
And also, Gemma wasn't there, so I had no distractions. Not that Gemma's a distraction, but at the same time, you normally have to watch what floats their boat too. So I had 3 things I could watch myself, and it was, yeah,
Fit in between all of them.
yeah.
Yeah, you would have seen my big hat if you had been.
So I did watch it at Perch, and then whenever I couldn't see it, I rewatched it. So whenever I rewatched it that evening.
Well, it was. I'll try and do it in a chronological order. And I tried watching a few videos of what I'd taken till refresh the memory.
Did you stay down?
I did. Stayed in the Osprey,
So
which is where we stayed a couple of years ago.
What time you leave on the Saturday at?
Me and Becca left the house at 6 a.m.
So you left here 6 o'clock in the morning. Did you go down in the Sierra?
No.
Did you go down the Bora?
No.
Did you go down the P100?
No, I went down the
The
Amarok. No, I went down. We went down the Amarok, which was handy. I'll explain that more in day 2 as to why that was handy. But we went down and landed in. I think we got to Mondello around.
Did you park in the public car park?
No, I came in and said media, and I got the place where me and you parked for fundraiser.
So you got the wee
small car park beside the public toilets.
Oh, you got in there.
We parked in there and then bumped into a listener who was camping.
Oh.
Will Morey.
Oh.
Well, so got bumped into Will, was chatting to him for a wee bit. Him and her.
You could camp at it?
Not the Saturday night anyway, but the Friday night I think they just chanced their arm and nobody said anything to them. So
they just put a tent up?
He had a roof rack on the car, a box on the roof with wheels in it. Which he'd bought in England, because he's in the south, but the missus is from England, so he was overseeing her. Bought a set of wheels, and I'm pretty sure then he had a tent, but he threw all of his stuff that was in the back seats into the tent, and they slept in the car. I don't know if you're allowed to do that, but that's what happened.
Fair enough.
So I got up. And it came a turn of events, so I had paid for full Grandstand A tickets.
Yes.
And then I got my car accepted, but obviously I couldn't go in the end, which meant I would have got reduced tickets. And then because I had a media pass, I actually would have got in for free. So I had spent, but do you know what? I don't regret it, because if it had been raining or things hadn't have worked out, or I don't know, if it had it was always good to have. I have Grandstand A there as a backup.
Yeah.
And Becca was able to go and sit in Grandstand A for a while.
She did?
Yeah, while I was running around doing stuff.
Yeah.
So it was handy that way as well. But anyway, landed down and took a walk through just the area to see who was about. Bumped into Fitzfab.
Well, how is Seamus?
Seamus and Connor was there. Dawson was there. DJ was there. They were all there. And I got given a free pair of sunglasses, which apparently they had a fuck up with the order, because they're supposed to say Fitzfab on both sides, but they only say Fitzfab on one side. So he was just like, just fucking take them, and I was like, handy, because I had a pair of, I ironically bought a pair of Pit Vipers.
And they're so cool.
And Becca absolutely hates them.
And I would be a big fan of them too.
Are you being sarcastic?
Yes.
Yeah, they're wild looking.
They're okay.
They're okay for skiing.
for a wee.
No, or for going skiing.
Well, I suppose that's what they're
That's what they're for, like, you know, but I think Becca's since broke mine.
Don't blame her.
So I was wearing them, and then I bought them ironically, but then I was wearing them because I have, like, problems with eye strain and stuff when I'm driving. Do you remember, like, when we were going down?
Do they make you less tired?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, because Seamus had said the exact same thing when we were down with him. He had said he nearly always wears sunglasses.
Yes. I'm just going to grab a drink in the car.
That's all right, go ahead.
Sorry, go on ahead there. You were talking about sunglasses. Fitzwag gave you sunglasses.
Yeah.
Then the rating on them was fucked up. Sorry about that.
So,
Why am I in good form?
I was, after I got chatting to them then, long story short, the pit vipers are fucked somewhere in a ditch. I have no idea where they're at, and I have a pair of Fitzfab sunglasses instead. So
Are they purple? Are they purple?
No, black. Just black.
Purple rating on them?
No, the like sparkly silvery rating.
Cool.
They're quite nice actually. So took it
They had all their cars there at it?
Yeah. Seamus's car was there, the 180 was there, Connor's car was there.
The 180 looks like it's going in to get the engine put into it now at the minute.
Seemingly so. He has a video up of the engine sitting beside the car anyway. I know that much, or a picture of it anyway.
Yeah.
Be good to see that done. Like I'm just in awe of them boys.
But he is a bit broke of his bumper
on the 86.
Yeah.
Seen that. I have an idea how that might have happened. You haven't seen a few of the videos he's been posting, have you? Allegedly he's been. I think the Port Road might have allegedly seen a couple of runs there recently.
I would have said it was allegedly Togue roads.
There was a couple of them as well. Yeah. Because I think Connor and all were out at them as well.
Allegedly.
So was chatting to them. They had all the vehicles there, and then made my way over through the pits and got chatting to Al Dillon for a bit.
How was Al?
Al was 100%.
That's good.
He was wearing a hoodie. I was buzzing.
Oh, deadly.
And then was chatting around.
I had the Fiesta
and the Focus there.
Fiesta looks cool.
I had seen that thing whenever it was. So I used to work on a site in Dublin there, and the site I was on was literally 3/4 of a mile from his unit. Like literally, I mean, you drove down the road, took a right, took a left, and you were at his unit. That was class, like how close I was. And I seen that whenever it was pretty much, I'm not going to say still in bits. The engine, he was able to get it started at that point, but there's no interior in it. It was, I think, it had just a set of steels on it, you know, just for rolling about the place. So it's nice to see that car all up as well.
Oh no, it's cool with you, guy.
I think he had a set of Ronalds on it. Near sure there's a set of Ronalds on it. So it was pretty cool, like. And then obviously the Focus is the Focus, and that thing's class, even though he nearly killed me and him in it one day, but that's a different story.
Allegedly.
And then, oh no, that one's true. We weren't even speeding. Then bumped into Kieran O'Reilly as well, who's also wearing a hoodie.
Oh, happy days.
So him and Al actually got a picture together with the hoodie. I'll show it to you after. So I was hyper buzzing about that.
To be fair, actually, I was planning to wear our new body warmer tonight.
Which I'm wearing.
Yes. I assumed it was in the car, but unfortunately I made an ass out of myself and no ass out of anybody else because I assumed it, and it's not there.
Well, I'm going to put the order up for these and the new hoodies later in the month to try and get a head start on Christmas, because I want to have everybody have their stuff for Christmas, all been well. So I'll give it 3 weeks or whatever, and then get the order in maybe mid-November.
Yeah.
And everyone will hopefully have their stuff by Christmas, is the plan. So that's a bit off topic, but then I bumped into Ryan McPeak for a bit and was chatting to him.
Yes.
And then I got to the
stage.
stage.
Does he have the Risto down or the 86?
No, the 86. And then I got to the stage where I was like, shit, I'm going to maybe miss the meeting here. And obviously I wasn't, I was early, but I was that scared of missing. Like, right, you talk about intimidating. I had no idea where I was going. So it was in one of the suites. It's called the Grand Prix suite upstairs in Mondello Park.
Aye, that's where I had to go for the drifting experience.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Right, so
just up into the wee upstairs in the park.
The way you got through there was through the pits.
Oh.
But I didn't know that, because that was the only way you could get in because of the way it was blocked off. And there's a security guard at the gate, you see, of the pits.
Yeah.
But And I had, at that stage, I had the pink wristband, which gives you access to the pits. And then they had an orange wristband, which was you've attended the safety briefing.
Oh, right, okay.
So I didn't know where I was going. Bumped into Psych Automotive, Simon Kelly. Bumped into him. And I was like, Simon, like, where the fuck do I go here? And he was like, oh, I'm just going to move the gate. So he literally just beside like where Darren McNamara's Group D stand was, he just pulled back one of the gates, and I was like, all right, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. So I followed him through and went upstairs, and like there's a few of the other photographers and stuff sitting there, and I was like, right, okay. And you talk about feeling like a fish out of water. I was intimidated, like I was shaking.
Were you shaking?
Yeah, like genuinely. And then the next thing, like a few of the drivers all came out. And the next thing, like Dwayne, Kevin, Laurie Heineken, all those guys are all walking past me. Like Jimmy Oakes.
You just casually had the top three finishers of Draft Masters engines walk by.
Literally walking past me, and I was like, I was just there, like, this is like, I know these guys don't know me, but like, I obviously know who they are, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on, like, and I was like, I was like this is just surreal, like, I.
But here's the thing, right? Do you think, I like, hope there's one thing, right, and obviously, right, February 23, you know, whenever we started this whole thing, obvious, like, did you ever think you'd get to that moment where you'd be in a room full of those folk that, yes, they are just people at the end of the day, but to be in a room with them and to have that feeling, because no offence, doesn't matter what anybody thinks, you don't often get that feeling.
You don't often get that feeling, but I'd be disappointed if I didn't yield that opportunity from this.
No, but what I mean is, like, it just goes to show you what something like that means to somebody whenever you do get that feeling.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. No, I was so grateful, obviously. Like, I was, like, I genuinely, like, even, I'm starting to shake here now thinking about it. So anyway, I got pulled into the, you know, say I got pulled in back, I was like, right, come on, we'll go in here, and everyone else started walking in, and I turned around, like, and they had been doing the driver's briefing, and then I'd walked in when there was the team driver's briefing, so I seen Stephen Hafferty there, so that was like for the team draft, and then like casually there was like Dave had done that, like the team's drift meeting, we were all sitting down, and then like looked up, and then the next thing Dave was talking about the NASCAR, and casually it was just Adam LZ, James Dean, Chelsea DeNova, all sitting, and I was like, what is going on here? Like I like genuinely, like, I was like, you can't even see it in the camera, but I was shaking. Like, I was just so like electric. I was like how have I got myself into this? Like, you know, like, how did I manage to get roped into being in this position? Like, how did these guys think, yeah, you know what, like Michael Scullin, he's deserving to get in here? Like, those are all, because I have massive imposter syndrome. I know I say, like, by rights, like, yes, I'd like to think that the podcast would earn you the stripes to get into these positions, but whenever you're there, like, I was just like, I don't deserve, like, I was thinking I don't deserve to be here. You know, that was the first thought that came into my head. I was like, I don't deserve to be here, because it was just mental. And then, like, Dave was saying to, like, the guys, like, with the NASCAR, he was like, and you hear us saying in the video, so I'm not saying any trade secrets here, but he was like, this thing is shit to drive. He's like, this thing is horrible to drive, so if you can drive it, fair play. I'm probably paraphrasing a bit, but like, that's more or less like what he was getting at, was he was just saying about how bad the NASCAR was to drive, and then they speak about it in the video, but how bad that car is to drive. And then like they were like, like, media team, do you want to like move up to the front here? So then we all came, sat further up, and I was literally like standing beside Adam LZ, and there's like a bunch of strawberries on the table, and this I quite like this. I was like, I actually really, not that I didn't respect them anyway, but it was like, this guy's obviously still human. Like, there was a bunch of strawberries in a packet sitting on like this table, and he like turned to like the guy beside me and goes, are these yours? And your guy was like, no. He goes, do you mind if I have them? And your mom was just like, I don't know. And he goes, sweet. And he lifted them and like took a strawberry out of it. But like,
but did you watch his video?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
So he had got a bunch of strawberries or a box of strawberries in a wee shop in Naas. I can't mind the actual name of it now.
Right.
But they were the best strawberries that any of them had ever tasted before. And he
There's
was going around his team.
Strawberry production place not actually far from Mondello.
But what I mean is, they made this big deal out of strawberries because they thought they were so nice.
Okay.
And you've just happened to come
Jesus.
upon him with the strawberries.
Right. I didn't know that, but
please don't put that burp in the podcast.
I don't know how I'm going to edit it out. Like,
fair enough, right? They're just going to have to live with it.
I'll see what I can do.
Jesus, I am an ignorant fucker of the day.
We'll work with it. So like, I haven't seen that bit of the video yet. I was sitting there and it was just like, he was like, "Oh, do you mind if I take one?" For me, I mean, I guess I also didn't expect him to be a dick, but you know when you kind of get like that vibe, if he had just turned around and said, "Oh, these are mine," and took them, like you'd been like, "Okay, it's your event, you can literally do what you want." But it's the fact that he had the manners and the pleasantry to turn around and say that. Like, I was like, I really respect that. Like, fair play. Yeah. So we all got sat down then, and then Davidas came round to me and was like, how are you feeling? And I was like, shitting myself. And he goes, "You'll be fine, just enjoy it." And I was like, I don't know if I can. Like, I am literally terrified here. And he was like, "Man, you'll be all right. Don't worry." So I was like, "Right, thank you very much. I really appreciate that."
Do you think Davidas like sort of helped you get the media pass?
Possibly. I don't know. I wrote to Cian, like, and I'd said to Cian, is there, I know I was speaking to you about media and all our events, and we talked about this whenever I was down at your old unit that time. I'm just going to throw my hat in the ring. And I was like, "Look, as far as I'm aware, we're the only podcast in Ireland talking about drifting."
Yeah.
And Lucas Bandana since has now started his podcast.
I've just seen that, yes.
Although he put it up that he was in Lithuania. So I know he is Lithuanian, but I don't know where his...
Oh, Lucas is Lithuanian?
Yeah, Lucas is Lithuanian.
With the American accent?
See, a lot of them, general, if English isn't your first language, if he's watched a lot of American videos, he'll pick up the his English through Americanisms. You would see that a lot with even Spanish people. When they speak English, they would tend to speak it with an American accent.
Mind blown.
Yeah, it's just because there's watching American TV, to learn. It's more likely to be more common to them than say British television or Irish television. So they're obviously watching, just for example, Friends or The Big Bang Theory or anything, Suits, whatever. And obviously everyone talks more like this, because they're American. So he is going to probably adopt that.
Not a bad actual accent there, Yod.
Well, did spend a bit of time out there, so probably have it dialed down a wee bit. But that's probably why he sounds American. Whereas if you get someone like, for instance, my colleague Casper, who I work with, who's Polish, but he talks, him and his brother Jacob both just sound like they come straight out of Ballymoney.
True, they do. True, they do. They don't look like they're from Ballymoney.
No, they don't look like they're from Ballymoney. But if you had a blindfold on, Casper, because he came over when he was 12, Jacob I think was 8. Casper has a bit more. Casper obviously still speaks to a lot of his Polish friends over here and talks a lot of Polish, as does Jacob. But Jacob was that young. His accent has just been completely infiltrated by just pure Ballymoneyisms. So you're talking to Jacob, he's talking like that to you.
That's your class.
Which is hilarious. I used to work with a young lad called Jan as well in CDE. Me and him were on the factory floor, and he was Polish too, Jan Koflik. But if you had a blindfold on, you'd have thought Jan was from Cookstown, which he was, but you would never have thought the man didn't live in Tyrone. Same as Mick, who I worked with as well. He was the same, lived in Dungannon. "Oh, I buy. How you getting on?" I love that.
That's in a more Australian, to be honest.
Shut up. But anyway, back to what we were saying.
So yes, you were there. Adam Elsie had some strawberries.
I was standing so close to him, and I was like, I know you could walk by someone in the street and they wouldn't know who you are. But for me, I'm looking at you going, you are literally automotive royalty in my eyes. And here I am, a couple of foot from you.
Yeah. And which last year, in the same position, we were contemplating giving €200 for the weekend to go VIP.
Yeah.
And you're just casually there the following year after, but media.
Yeah. So
you were like in the next exit's position 2 years before?
Yes.
In 2022?
Yes. Now, that being said, I really didn't want to rip the piss. So I didn't, I'll talk about this in a bit, but I didn't really want to go and, because they said, look, you're here for media, but you're also here. And Kane's, and I don't disagree with Kane for the way he done this. Kane was very much to the point, he's like, look, you're here for media. This isn't a chance for you to just walk into the VIP section or go up and annoy the drivers. Like, they're here to do their job, you're here to do yours. Which maybe sounds intimidating, but it's the truth. Because you might get someone who just goes, nah, do you know what, I decided I don't want to work this weekend. I'm just going to go and try and talk to it. And they've probably had that in the past where maybe someone has come up and maybe pushed their welcome a bit.
Push boundaries.
And I was like, I don't want to do that. So I maybe could have been more forward, but I was just happy to be there and kind of just stay out of trouble and not get myself in the annoying eyes of anybody. So,
especially I suppose for your first time.
Time, if I'm back, if I have the opportunity to get back next year, and I know Dave's already on saying now you're on to bigger and better things, so fuck knows what they're going to do next. But if I get granted the opportunity, and again through this podcast and through some of the TikToks I've been releasing, they hopefully look at it and go, do you know what? Like, there's good content there. It's not our normal form of content, but it's content. And I would like to maybe promote this in Maximum Driftcast if anybody's listening. So if you've come here from Maximum Driftcast and they've allowed to post this and me to post this in the forum, hello.
It's only taken 45 to 50 minutes to get into it.
Yeah, well, we have a long podcast for a reason, but it was just bonkers. So then that was okay. Went outside. I was like, okay. Well, everyone else went off, and I was like, okay. So I went.
Were you
down.
okay?
I went to standing outside, and I was like, well, I suppose I should get my camera up and going, and got the camera up, and the screen was just white.
Oh.
And I was like, what the fuck? Like, my camera had been fine the night before, and it's actually set up. I had it set up the way I have it set up now, which is set up to work in low light conditions. So in normal daylight, the way the camera's set up at the minute is it's made us brighter.
Okay.
Like, it's recording us basically brighter than how we actually are.
So you've changed your exposure?
Yes. So I am set up a manual exposure.
Okay.
At the minute. And I didn't realise, because obviously, you know what I'm like, Connor. I go into a fucking meltdown. And I started freaking out.
Slightly, yes.
And I was like, oh my God, this weekend's ruined. I'm going to have to do this on my phone. I'm going to look so unprofessional. They're all going to hate me. I've just messed up my chance. We're never going to get to do this. This is literally what was going through my head. And then, I then went up to Kane. I was like, look, do you know anyone can help me with a camera? And Kane was like, look, I need a bit on here. And I was like, he's like, sorry, I can't help you at the minute. And I was like, look, no problem. And the next time Davida's walked out, and I was like, Davida's, I am stuck. Do you know much about cameras? Obviously you do. And he was like, yeah, let me take a look. And he goes, oh, you're a manual exposure. And I was like, oh, that's the way I record for the podcast. And he was like, hi. And he just put it in auto and goes, try it in auto. And he says, go from there. And I was like, just please give me a hug. I was freaking out. So anyway, calmed down, walked downstairs into the pits. And again, just the same thing. Everybody was just standing about. It was all the drivers. And this is the bit where, for me, it was just, again, I'm going to use this word. Instead of unreal, I'm using surreal. I was standing in the pits, and you look out and you see all, everybody else who's bought a ticket to the event standing, just, watching into the pit. And here I am, standing there, just, literally all the drivers beside me just going,
well, last year you were the other side, and this year you're inside.
Yeah, I was just like, holy shit. And then was talking to Lloyd Patterson for a bit about my car, and then we're talking to Stephen Hofferty.
Yeah.
For a bit, because I was saying to him, we were chatting earlier on. He said he didn't know what he was going to be doing for LZ Fest, and then he was in for the team drift.
Yes.
I'll talk about the team drift in a bit, but best name ever. But I'll talk about all that in a bit.
That's to come, yeah.
That's to come. So I was just I remember just standing there, and James Dean was literally him, and or Becky Evans was literally in the first shed, and then it worked its way down, and I was just there. Like Sam from Night Raid was there. Like Mark from Night Raid was like standing beside me at one point. Like, and I was just looking around, going like again, these are all these people that I watch on YouTube. Like these people who I literally revere, and I'm just like, holy shit. There's going to be a lot of this in this podcast. But so then I did like a quick pit walk, but I put a TikTok video up about it. It didn't really go that overly great, to be honest, because it wasn't really a great video, and I just was so eager to get something out at all that had been there. I kind of felt obliged, and I just, when I went on the Sunday, it was a different attitude. But I'll talk about that in a bit. So then the next thing, I went round the track, and I bumped into a guy then from Mexico.
Okay, yeah.
And his name's Double Clutch. And like Mexico. And he was saying to me, he was like, you're from Ireland? I was like, yeah. He goes, man, you have like the most amazing place and like the most amazing scene in your doorstep. He's right. We do. We have Mondello Park. We have drift games.
To be fair, I think, as you're saying that, I suppose I was sort of thinking this as well. Like, there's a lot of countries obviously you go to, but Ireland, I suppose even over in like mainland UK as well. But I suppose more so Ireland, for obviously we're from here. It is pretty deadly. Like,
yeah,
you know, you have like homegrown talent that's winning drift masters.
Literally, like our Irish drivers are some of the best in the world.
Yeah,
like literally, James Dean and Dwayne McKeever, Connor Shanahan, Jack Shanahan, you know, amongst others, are literally up there with the best in the world. Like James Dean and Connor Shanahan won events at FD this year. You know, Dwayne McKeever and James won events in Drift Masters this year.
Yeah.
You know, like Connor won event in Drift Masters this year. Like, you know, it's just.
And even for road cars.
Yes. We're just you've got boys like Lloyd Patterson and, you know, like Richard Bradley and all them boys. Like all the tuners over here, like they're all drifting focused as well. Like I know for road cars too, but like maybe I'm just ignorant to this, but you know, any of the go-to mappers we've heard of, like yes, they all talk a bit about drag racing. Like Richard Bradley does a bit of drag racing and all that too, but you know, everyone has their mapping for drifting. You know, yeah. Even with like Kane Walsh and all them guys, like it's all drifting over here. Like that's what the country wants. That's what the scene wants. Like
all stem from rallying.
Well, the rallying's a different level altogether in this country. But again, I'd say drifting's maybe more accessible, although it's kind of going the way in this country. We're starting to get very, very expensive. But like for an automotive following in this country, we are drift mad. Like the majority of us are into that. So,
your fella you were talking to,
he was just saying like how we have such a good scene here, which was nice to hear, and I guess it's something we can take for granted.
And he travelled just for that event?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
He travelled from Mexico?
Yes.
Just for that event?
Yes.
Just goes to show you then, whenever some of these videos go out from the likes of LZ, or LZ, Drift Games, Night Ride, Juice Box,
yes,
James Dean, and so on and so forth.
Yes, Neil Sheehan drove, like, when I was waiting to get in, Neil Sheehan from Juice Box was, he was driving the Corolla in, like he was getting his pass at the same time as I was. Again, he'll not have a clue who I am, like, but, you know, I knew who he was, so.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I did after that was like, right, I'll take a quick walk through here now and I'll go down to the track because they'd started doing the practicing.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll see if I can get some footage here now. And the first place I went out to was like in front of the VIP area where we were allowed to stand, and I was like, this is where your guy, FPT I think his name is, he was doing the drone footage. That's where he was standing. For me, like my camera doesn't have enough zoom. It wasn't really a good place for me. And I was like, right, what I might do is actually head on down and see if there's anywhere else I can stand, because we were told we could enter a gate at the side of the track. So like I walked on down, and like this feeling that I had, like that I got being able to do this, didn't leave me the entire weekend. So especially like towards Sunday, where the place started to get really busy, there's this gate that, you know, if we were marshalled up, we were like, you know, obviously had the correct wristbands and whatnot, you could get through. And like, to walk through the crowd and be like, sorry, can I get through here and stuff, like, and you just felt like someone. I just felt like someone.
Yeah.
And like walked out then, and then was standing beside. So I got chatting to Ben from Slushbox Automotive and Megan from Driven by Cameras.
Yeah.
Was chatting to them, and then the next thing they were saying, we were speaking, and then I was like, because this is a reference I kept making all weekend. I was like I'm here with my like shitty little camera that I used to record the podcast on. It's like, what, a small little Sony, and everyone's out with like these cameras with all these big lenses and all this here. And then I got a real nice confidence boost from them, to be honest, because they were like, yeah, but you'll be here for the podcast. Like, yours is going to be obviously different.
Oh, are they listeners?
Yeah. This is where I was like, but do you know, like, because then your lad Ben asked me a couple of questions about the Sarah, and I was like, do you know me? Like, am I like? And I don't mean that in a way like, sorry, do you know me? Like, I was like shocked.
Yeah, of course.
And they were like, yeah, no, like. And Megan started talking about Dan Fitz in the pod and all, like, you know, how we called him out for having a different Instagram name versus a TikTok name.
Oh,
and,
yes.
And she was like, oh yeah, I was sending Dan like the messages and all, and I was like, fucking hell, like I didn't expect that. Like, and you know, both like up and coming talent. Like, to be fair, like both of them, like check out Driven by Cameras and Slushbox Automotive. Like their stuff is really, really good. You know, and I was just like, how do these guys know who I am? And then I was kind of like, well, maybe I should be here. You know, maybe I do have a right to be here.
You didn't maybe feel as intimidated?
Not after that, to be fair. And then I got a chance then to go over to the middle of the track.
Oh.
And let me tell you, that is an experience and a half. So you see them coming over the hill into the first corner.
Deadly.
You get to follow them round like the bottom bend, and then they come round again. Like, honestly, it was just, again, surreal. Like, the whole thing. And then that's where I got chatting then to Darren from Dirty Drifting.
Yes.
So I'll talk more about that in a bit, but I got properly then got speaking to him and was chatting to him for a good while. Then Simon Kelly was there as well again too. And Adam, who was working on behalf of Darren as well, was there. So I was chatting to them guys as well, and then hanging out in the middle area. And then I didn't want to outstay my welcome, because Cian had said, look, the middle area is where a lot of you are going to want to get the action. If it gets too crowded, you'll not really get the best photos. So if you've been there for a while, like, basically, don't be a dick. Don't outstay your welcome in the middle, and make your way back across the track. And there's other places you can stand as well. Now, I spent my whole time on like I'm going to call it the back straight, like came up beside the podium or in the middle. There's a few ones obviously went round like up to the other side of the track, like because they could go up to where the drivers were starting and all up there. We were allowed to go up there. I didn't really want to go up there. There was plenty of people about there too. I didn't really want to get in the way up there, so I was happy enough to just stay where I was. But I was able to get some pretty good shots as well from where I was. So, like it was just really like being able to get all that and access to that was unbelievable. So after that, then I went and had a walk around the car show. Now that everybody was in, and you'll actually see if you look at if you look at the TikToks, I on day 2 done like a video in front of all the cars.
Yes.
I actually didn't do that on day 1.
Did you take a video?
I just took a video of the cars, and I was planning on putting it with music. But I suppose I can talk. I'll mention the conversation then I had with Darren first, because Darren was from Dirty Drifting, was kind of like saying, like, he was like, you know, Michael, he's like, what's the point in you taking these videos? And he was like, you know, like, it's like people are watching your podcast for you and for Connor. Obviously you weren't there, but he was like paraphrasing for us. And he was like, people are watching them for you. He goes, what's the difference between you standing in here and taking a video and like them standing out there and taking a video and putting it on their TikTok? Like, realistically, it's the same video. He's like, you need to be saying, like, showing that you're here. you know, and why you're here and that you deserve to be here.
Yeah,
that's literally why I put up the video. We'll talk about the Lexus in a bit, but that's actually why I put up that video of me saying I'm standing in the middle of the track here.
Yes.
Because it was a kind of a thing again. Okay, so that's why I went around and took like all the videos again of me actually commentating, because I was like, okay, well maybe people do want to see me in front. I don't know if they do or not, but I thought I'd chance it anyway, and hopefully whenever you're coming on board to get in front of the camera now instead of behind it, the pair of us will be able to start doing that.
I found that yes, you have to maybe have your arms right to strap down, whereas I need to have a fishing hook under my fucking chin to lift it up.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, a jack.
Yeah. Yeah, you just need to look at the camera. But like, I'm not media trained and neither are you, so
to be fair,
this is the type of shit we're just going to have to figure out ourselves.
Other than King of the Cone and Granard, I don't think I've really ever been in front of the camera for any bar. Obviously, bar this, but it's one thing.
This is different. This is entirely different.
It's one thing talking to a camera instead of talking with a camera viewing you.
But this is conversation. Occasionally, you will turn around and look at the camera, and I do it too. Like, but this is conversation. It's completely different.
True.
That's why anybody, like, I think, who's in front of a camera, like whenever they're talking, tired, are you?
Aye.
Anyone who, like, you know, they talk about, I couldn't be in the podcast, I couldn't be in front of a camera. I'm like, you don't understand. It's not like being in front of a camera.
The camera is like an afterthought.
Yeah, the camera's an add-on. Like, and most people we have on the pod, the first thing they say is, I forgot the camera was there.
Exactly.
And it's like, yeah. Like, and when I eventually get Aidan Carr to join us, like, he will say that. I'm working on it. He's running out of excuses here. He put up that video Lucky Day there, and being on camera and all that. And
I seen he was with Chrissy Higgins today too.
Was he?
Through Snapchat, like.
So, I think Chrissy deals a lot with him back and forth. So, they go back years, to be fair. But he's running out of excuses now. It's coming. His time's coming. He'll be on that set soon enough.
Oh.
But it's one of my highlights of the Saturday, and I think this is probably a highlight for a lot of people. I've seen this talked about a lot on the Saturday. So you've heard of a tandem drift?
I have heard of a tandem drift.
You
yes.
ever heard of a tridem drift?
A tridem, Michael?
3. So they were doing like the fantasy battles.
Yes, they were.
And they were saying like, oh, like, what do you want to see? They decided to send James Dean, Adam LZ, and Dwayne McKeever out together. So that's three of them.
Drift Masters levels.
3 Drift Masters level drivers coming out over the hill of Mondello.
So
and
the top 3 finishers from Poland.
Yes. Dwayne wasn't giving Adam any space. he clips the bumper off his car coming, and he's trying to get that close to him. Like,
oh right.
You think about it. You have an aggressive chase driver like Dwayne McKeever chasing down a chase driver who's chasing in James Dean. So Adam LZ's trying to get close to James Dean.
Yeah.
And Dwayne McKeever's trying to get close to Adam LZ. It's very, very hard to predict what a chase driver is doing, especially when you're chasing. And so obviously they hadn't rehearsed that or practiced that. No. They come in, they just kept her lit. Then after they finished that, they just all started like hooping around each other and stuff.
To be fair now, whenever I was seeing it in the live stream, Dwayne was not too close in the very first corner going over the hill, and as soon as he got into outer zone 3, I think it was, around the long corner, like, it was class.
Yeah. Oh, I was standing in the middle watching that at the time. Like,
now, how whenever he went into outer zone 4 and then outer zone 5, how Dwayne was fit to judge, because he came out of the smoke and he was not far away from that wall.
No.
Like fair fox.
As they said, like, they all started like hooping around each other, and then I'm pretty sure Dwayne's car may have
the turbo got a wee bit warm.
Aye. I wish I'd been able to get across the track and get round to get the videos of them all like throwing the hoops up at the top as well. But honestly, like, I was just watching this and I was like, this is like, you wouldn't see this.
That is fantasy level stuff.
Exactly. Well, that's why it's the fantasy battles. But you wouldn't see this.
That is a fantasy battle that you'll never see.
Correct. So I was like, literally like, that's amazing. So I seen that and I was just like, that's so good. Another, when you talk about obviously tridems, you've also got quadrums. I don't actually know what that's called, but basically...
You had, a drift train or a drift bus.
So the drift bus, the drift train. So are you familiar with Final Bout?
Final Bout?
Yeah.
No.
Final Bout's it's kind of like a brand, but like basically the whole idea is like keep drifting fun.
Okay.
And one of the things they do is like the team drift competition.
Oh, right.
And that is so that was kind of where the inspiration come from. And you had all so you had like the likes of like Candy Culture, like Sean Noon and his friends, like they all have, there's 4 of them obviously have all their cars stickered up with Candy Culture. There was Team Full, which is a bunch of guys that all have JZX 100 chasers.
Yes.
Juicebox.
Oh.
We're in for a team drift. And then there was our good local friend, Stephen Halfordy, Aaron Breen, Peter Malloy, and Rad Don Burkett in their team called Bus Full of Nuns.
And you know what? Whenever I was watching the live stream, sometimes the lower powered stuff,
they did a really, really good job. They were on.
The first drum was really good, and then the rest came out.
Well, even on the Saturday, they were going together very, very well.
I know. So I didn't see them on the Sunday in the team drifting, if there was.
Oh, okay.
So it was only the Saturday I seen it. The first one was good, and then seen the other ones, and it nearly seemed like the lead driver was just giving it death whenever what they should have done was put the slowest car at the front.
Yes.
To do the pace.
Yes.
And make the higher horsepower cars sort of have to sit behind.
Yes.
But Bus Full of Nuns, the second run was class on Saturday.
It was so good.
It was poetry.
In the driver's briefing, Dave was saying to the guys, look, you can do what you want, but just keep it kind of simple. Obviously make it cool, but just if you keep it simple, it's easier for everyone to basically be closer to each other and stuff. But it's up to you what you want to do. So basically, you run the course as a train, and then at the very end, you kind of put on a showpiece.
Yeah.
So whether you go off and hoop in different directions or do something or whatever. So they obviously all come around the track. Bus Full of Nuns all come around the track. They do what they're doing, and then I think it's either Peter Malloy or Random Burkett climbs out of the car and stands on the roof, and then they all hoop around him.
Deadly.
And it's just I'm pretty sure that's a health and safety nightmare and completely illegal, but in terms of the fun and all that, it was...
You obviously didn't hear Ian Waddington's commentary.
No, where I was standing we couldn't actually hear it at all.
So in the live stream it was just this is just a fun event, anything goes.
But it's true, and that was I suppose that actually brings me on to the next topic, was the likes of the AS200s. That was a stroke of genius.
Yes,
genuinely.
but that wasn't to the Sunday.
No.
So, is there much else that was a highlight that stood out for you on the Saturday?
Well, we've already discussed Bus Full of Nuns and the Tridem, and to be honest, Saturday after that was just mainly there was the Star and the reasonably priced NASCAR, which everybody spoke about a bit.
Yes.
And then there was Connor's looking up the list there.
Yes, I am.
And to be honest, after that, I was more just spent the time taking in. I've talked about the car show and all as well. So then Saturday night,
did you go to the after party?
I did go to the after party, and at the start I went to the after party and I was like,
did you go as early or as late as last year?
About 9:30.
Far earlier.
there was very, very few people there when we went to the after party.
Isn't
at
it funny
the start.
In 2022, it was bunged to 9:30?
We'll see. By the time it got to 12:30, it was pretty bunged. There was a bigger crowd there. Now it wasn't 2022 levels.
2022, they were queued out everywhere.
Yeah, 2022. I think it was definitely a lot more chilled. I would say the drivers probably, and anyone competing or whatever, probably would have enjoyed it a bit more.
With it being quiet.
Well, being a bit. Obviously, Dave. I had a couple of conversations with Dave actually over the weekend. Obviously, Dave doesn't have a fucking clue who I am, but it's a claim to fame for me. So
you're the Timu Hall that he never had.
Well, actually, I'll tell you about that in a bit. But the first one actually I was speaking to was actually good chatting to Laurie Heineken.
Oh, right. Well, we'll start with Laurie.
Such a nice guy.
Did he speak much, though? He seems to be a man of few words.
Typically, that's just the finish in general. They would all be known to be short in words. But I actually walked up to him, and this is true. And what I'm saying here is genuinely true as well. So I said to him, Laurie, congratulations on everything with Driftmasters. And he said, oh, thanks very much. And I said, look, Laurie, I'll be honest with you. I am a Dwayne McKeever fan, and I have always followed Dwayne. But I genuinely think you deserved to win Drift Masters this year. You were very close last year. You done a great job this year. I was like, so genuinely, I was like, congratulations. I was like, you really, really deserved it. And he was like, I really, really appreciate that. Like, thank you so much. And then I was like, okay, I'm not going to annoy you anymore. See you later. But like, probably my own ego just going, you should go and tell Laurie Heinen what he thinks of you, because clearly your opinion is going to mean so much to him. Like,
well, clearly it did.
Well, okay, you know what? Like, he seems like a fairly down to earth guy. Like, so all things considered, like, it was nice to get chatting to him. And then I got speaking to Dave, and I was asking him about his S14, and I was saying, like, it's road legal, and I was like, do you think like that's the perfect recipe for like a road legal drift car in this country? And he said, look, it works. It's fairly standard. It looks good. It's got like the nice interior and all that. It's also stripped out, but he says you can drive it to the track, give it a hell, and drive it home.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, like that was my plans with the Sierra as well.
What brake is this S14 roughly?
I think it's about maybe 300. Like, I think it's a standard SR20 with a S15 turbo.
So
and a map.
It could be 320, 330.
If even. It mightn't even be 300. Like, genuinely, I don't know. But as I say, it's only got the S15 turbo. So whatever you can push them on out to, I'm not sure. It'll obviously have the like ECU package, and Lloyd will probably modified it to run as best it can. But
yes. So
I got chatting to him about that for a bit, and then that was really it. It was obviously with Darren and Adam and Simon again for a good while. And that was where Darren really had said to me, we ended up having a big chat for quite a long time, and Darren was like, look, he's like, I'm telling you now, like, he's like, you don't necessarily believe me. He's like, but you need to be getting in front of that camera, and that's what you really need to be. Like, he's like, you need to be the one standing there and doing all the stuff. And I was like, well, actually, I took all these videos of the car show the day. And he's like, what are you planning on doing with them? He goes, why are you not standing in front? He's like, why are you not talking about the car show? And I was like, I guess I never really thought of it like that, because, at the end of the day, we're still just a podcast. And he was like, look, you should be putting yourself out there. And I was like, okay, well, fair enough. And that's why even now I've decided, fuck it, I will start doing the vlog for the tractor and all now too.
Because it'd be awkward if you're doing the vlog.
Typing furiously. And to be honest, like, I'm not gonna lie, the wee ego boost was nice. Like, we're all human, we're all susceptible to a little bit of. I'm not very good at taking compliments or anything, but it was nice to hear that, nice to hear the praise. And in general, like, the praise I was getting all weekend from people was like class, and like, I don't expect it, and it's just nice to to be there and be included.
Do you want to know the stark contrast of what my weekend was like, just very quickly?
You spent most of it in bed?
No. So the Saturday, whilst you were talking, whenever you were in the room with Adam LZ and that, I was shifting cattle. So, and then whenever you were out in the track watching things, I was watching the live stream in bed. So, and then on the Saturday night, I tried watching Rings of Power season 2 and fell asleep. So, just a slight contrast there, to be honest with you. And yeah, just it's mad, Yeah, I'm gonna not feel sorry for myself anymore.
Well, it was the Sunday then. So moving on after I got up, we like, to be honest, because I didn't have the show car and I think down, didn't have the Sierra down, didn't feel obliged to get down.
Out of curiosity, did you enjoy the thing nearly more because there was no pressure there?
Yep.
Because you mind, like, Donegal 21, 22 and 23. No, sorry, not 22, 23, 21, 23. Whenever you're in the car with myself on the Friday. No disrespect to the ladies like Gemma and Becca, but you hadn't a care in the world.
No, me and you were just going about the place, and it was good old crack, because you're not sitting worrying going, fuck, is this thing overheating and all this. Now, don't get me wrong, I definitely enjoyed the Friday at Donegal this year with having the car. I really enjoyed driving through the town, like, and having it this year. Yeah. Like, it was, and because I wasn't cared about it heating or anything like that anymore, like, and it wasn't idling like shit, I was happy enough. Like, okay, I actually wasn't that worried, which is obviously then my car just goes, pah, and, punches you in the guts and fucks up something else. Like, but
I know, but what I mean is, you could go to the event and basically just do what you want to do.
On the Sunday there was like no room in the car park, but there's one wee space, but it was over like this real gravelly, muddy ditch.
Oh, you're like, oh my god, look at me and my big Amarok, and it's four-wheel drive.
Correct. Off-road mode. Straight through it, parked it up, got out and was like, worth it. Couldn't have done that in the Bora. You'd bust the sump.
True.
So I know that I said Bora goes anywhere, but as long as there's not like a dip like that where you're just going to wreck the sump of the car. But so like on the Sunday I landed in and I was like, do you know what, like I maybe take like I was standing around, I was talking to Stephen Halford and Harry Kerr for a bit.
Yes.
And then I was like, right, okay, do you know what, I might actually do a walk through the pits. I started up beside James Dean and Colette Davis, and then I was like walking by Connor Fulvey and all them ones, and I was like, I was talking about them, and I kind of felt like a bit of a knob then, because I was like, like I was like, oh, this is Connor Falvey, and he's 16, and like this is his first year, and he's done well in Drift Masters and all that, and he's won Rookie of the Year and all that there. But like his whole family were staring at me as I was like standing in front of his car, like not making eye contact with him, because I just felt like I was like, I just don't have the confidence for this yet. And then I was like walking on past, and then like there was a Shanahan's car, and then the rain came on really badly, and it was just me and Becca like standing in between the two Shanahan's cars, just in the pits, and I was just like, hey. And I actually got chatting to Fionn Roche there as well, briefly, because chatting to him about the podcast and all, because he follows us on Instagram for whatever weird and wonderful reason, so fair play to him.
So he knew who you were?
Yeah, he actually did know. So I was speaking to him briefly as well, but again, didn't want to torture him. And then the rain kind of died down a wee bit, and I kept walking on through the pits. And the next thing, then I got down to Lucky Day competitions.
Oh, right.
I was sort of standing there, and the next thing, Chris Brady like sort of made eye contact with me and bounded over, and I was like, well, and he goes, Michael, he goes, good to see you. And I was like, well, Chris, how are we? He goes, oh no, he goes, I listened to the podcast, and fuck me, I could have dropped dead in the spot. Like, I was just like, huh? He goes, I listened to the podcast. He goes, Emmett Sherry, you had on the podcast. He goes, he was actually in my class at school.
Oh, right.
And I was like, wow. And then I was like, well, he goes, oh, come on, I know the rain. He goes, we'll have a chat here, sure. And I was like, well, no bother. Like, I got finding out then, he took me all around the car and speaking all about the car and chatting away. So Chris Brady will be definitely coming on a future podcast. I actually wanted to get him on for this one tonight, but he's only back from holiday. And with the way my week with work is going, I'm not available any other time.
Yeah.
So hence why we're just doing this ourselves. I actually originally wanted to get Chris, and then I was planning maybe doing something with Darren from Dirty Drifting, but we've a plan for after Tullyroan with him. So.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So. It ends up being me and you talking about it, but he brought me in. Then he made me feel so welcome, and Becca as well.
Yeah,
and we were in with them for ages. And he took me around the car, chatting about everything, about what had been done with it, and it's nice because Chris was saying, I was like, Chris, I actually remember you from back in the days whenever you had the A86 with the SR20 in it. I was like, and that wasn't yesterday. And he was like, oh, that's like 2016. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I remember. I was like, I'm pretty sure you were at Tullyroan. And I remember you from Drifting the Docks and all as well.
Yes.
And he was like, yeah, he goes, I was always the underdog for a long time. And then he was like, and then these guys, he's like, Lucky Dave kind of seen me and given me a bit of a, they've seen a bit of potential in me, and, they've said, come on ahead. And, they have that S15 now, and that thing is...
Drift Masters level.
It's a Drift Masters. Well, Chris is for doing. He's doing Oman, and then he's doing Drift Masters. So, Lucky Day's going to Drift Masters, which is insane. But Chris is obviously a Drift Master standard level there now. He was in the top 16 event, which is just I was speechless, and that car, Chris was saying, he's like, I don't think he'll mind if he comes in the pod. He'll probably say the same thing himself. He'll say he's like, obviously this is the car. This S15 is based on, it's built by Dean M Sport. He's like, and it's James has obviously had a lot of say in what he'd like done to the car. He goes, this is the car James, I suppose, would have built.
Yeah. And
he's in that. He goes, the thing is, he goes, everybody expects you to drive it like James Dean.
True. No, that's fair.
But he's like, but I'm not James Dean. He goes, I'm not. We don't have the same driving style. So he's like, I have to now try and figure out this car. So it's interesting because I never thought of that. Like the pressure, you know, when you think about it, it's like, you know, he's like, oh, you're given a car set up by James, so surely you'll have to drive like it. And he's like, but his style of driving's so different.
Yes.
So, and like, we know Chris is a good driver. There's no two ways about that. So
never thought about it like that.
Yeah,
you know?
And neither did I until Chris will tell us. We'll talk about it more when he comes in the podcast anyway, and tells us the whole story about it. But so it's just things like that, stuff we never think of. But yeah, like I think like whether we record here or we record there, personally, I may be happy to go up to Chris's place and record in front of the S15 because that would be pretty cool.
That'll have to be a Sunday.
Yes. Well, we can figure out something. We don't have much time though because the car's going to go to Oman here. At some point, we need to.
When's it going to Oman?
Well, Oman's what, January and February, isn't it?
Right. Okay.
So we probably have a month to book that on.
Probably have to be a Sunday.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So yeah, then I got chatting to Sammy. So
right.
Chris, I said, funny. I was like, Chris says, like, you actually were someone who I'd had my eye on maybe before the podcast. So just the fact that he was even there. And then I said, I'd also maybe thought about Sammy as well. I was like, but I've never had a chance to speak to her. He goes, she's here. I goes, I know that, but I wasn't going to go up and bother her. And he goes, nah, stand your ground there. I went over and goes, Sammy, there's a fella here who wants to speak to you. Sammy come over then. And I was like, well. And then I forgot how to speak.
Oh, right.
So she was like, well, it's the crack. And I was like, I was I was standing beside, I went off in a fucking random spiel. And I was like, I was thinking about it after, I was like, why did I even say this? I was like, I was standing beside you at Farmflix, but I never actually got a chance to speak to you as I was kind of hoping to have a word. Because she was standing talking to John McLean. And it was literally as I was leaving. And
funny I seen them talking, yeah.
And I was wanting to say best of luck to John. And thanks for having me. I'll see you soon. Chat to you soon. And Sammy was standing there chatting, and I was like, right, I could kill two birds with one stone here. I could say goodbye to Sammy, or say goodbye to John, and maybe talk to Sammy. And that never worked. And obviously, I was in that case, John was.
So after your random spill, did you get talking to Sammy then?
So then I was like, I don't know if you know. I was like, we do a podcast, and she was like, all right. She's like, what's it called? I said, just type it into TikTok, and it come up there. I don't know if she follows or not. Fingers crossed, but I don't know if she did. But and she was like, yeah, she's like, I was like, you ever been on a podcast? She goes, funny, I'm actually doing my first one here now. And she's like, it's about farming as well. And I goes, I didn't actually know there was any other farming podcasts in the country. She says something to do with like farming and forestry. She said who the name of the fella was, but I don't remember if she mentioned the podcast, because that's something I think I would have listened to be fair. She said she was doing. I was like, well, fuck's sake. I was like, I wish I had got speaking to you on the poll now, for maybe I could have had you on sooner, and we could have been your podcast first. But whatever, I'll not get too bitter about it.
No.
So standing chatting to her then, and then the next thing I was like, do you know what? Like, I'm gonna the main battles are coming up here now. Like the main top 16 is coming up now, and I was like, I don't really want to be in the way.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, do you know what? Like, I'm just going to shoot on here. So moved back on up through then, and then got back out onto the track again, and spent like the rest of the day chatting to a few other ones. There's another fella there called Neil Gibbon. He actually went out he does a bit of landscaping stuff, but he actually went out to Australia, and then he was taking like photos at like the LZ World Tour in Australia and all as well.
Oh, right, deadly, yes.
And a couple of other drift events, and I was like, are you a full-time photographer? And he goes, no, he goes, self-employed scaffolder. But he was like, I do photography as well. And I was like, well, fair play, so you've clearly got experience with all our events. So Carnation Media is Neil's. But again, he was standing going, he goes, suppose you're looking to get a few things to the podcast. And I was like,
you what?
What? Sorry, what? And Connor, honestly, like, I don't want to sound like I'm blowing the trumpet here, but genuinely, like, it was...
People actually listen then?
Aye. Why? I don't know, but they do.
They must enjoy you.
Us. Not me. Us.
Well, I am the quiet one. I end the day in a podcast, lots of talking.
You still get your word in. Don't worry about that. So, and then I was back with Darren was there for a while then. But you know what? Do you know genuinely, like, so it was after I was standing in the middle of the track towards the end of the day again, like, do you know what one of my most standout bits of the entire event was as well? And this is going to sound so strange.
What was one of your standout bits?
The cameras that some people have are absolutely insane.
In what way?
I'm going to put this in TikTok, so we'll cut to the TikTok here now. But because we're not on TikTok, although you will see that clip on TikTok, it was massive. Like, I'm not joking. This camera genuinely looked to be the width of that entire sofa you're sitting on, like the lens.
So I could have hit you in the head with it.
Connor, you could have cleaned me in half the track with it. It looked like, honestly, and I say this in the video, it looked like it had a big fucking K&N filter in the end of it.
Fair
it was
enough,
that big. It was massive. Like, and the fella holding it had to actually, you couldn't hold it, had to have like a pole.
Oh, bound to.
It was on a pole, like.
It'd have been top heavy.
And like, we were literally saying, like, we're sure joking with the lad, and it was like, right, whenever he swings round to get the second video, everyone has to duck.
Was it a macro lens?
I don't know. I don't know photography. Do you?
If you don't know, I know less.
I just know editing. I don't know anything about lenses or anything like that. Like, I know nothing about cameras.
Hardly.
All I know is this thing probably could like that man.
Would his photography game be strong?
That man literally looked like he should have been off the back of an AC 130 calling in for fucking. Like that's what that thing looked like. Modern Warfare 2 style. Like, this thing was massive.
Was it like a fucking intervention?
Yeah, honestly, huge. It was so big. Like, and if you've joined this,
some shots.
If you've joined this,
quick scooping.
If you've joined this podcast at the wrong time, you'll be wondering what we're talking about. But honestly, God,
like, if you've got a dirty mind, then get off this podcast now.
Honestly, like, it was like, it just looked at, I was like, the size of that thing, like,
oh Jesus,
it's huge. Like,
she takes some shots.
That would do anyway. Some damage. Like, you know, and so like,
and it gets bigger, they are not weird.
Hey, well, I'd say it's how they say it's how you use it, but I'd say that the man with that thing used it fairly well.
If he needed a fucking stabilizer for it, you know, he'd probably used it well.
I would say so. But I actually ended up leaving the event because the missus wasn't that well in the end up. So I had to bow out just before they went on to the podium. So I watched the full event. So it was James won, then it was Alan Hines second.
Yeah.
To be fair, Alan Hines, like, he is some driver.
To be fair, he won ADC.
He won ADC, and Alan Hines, in my opinion, I honestly thought would have walked ADC the year, like in 2018, like 2017, he was always like behind, like if Dwayne, Ryan Caldwell, the Shanahans, Mitch Lerner was there for 1 year as well, like we're all like coming in like, you know, top four. Like Alan Hines was always making it to the top 8 or making it to the top 4, like.
And it was 20.
It's 2018 then boys all decided to go to Drift Masters for the first time, wasn't it?
I'm trying to think.
Or was it 2019? No, it was 2018 they all decided to go to Drift Masters for the first time. I'm thinking back to 2018. But Mitch Lerner was over here in 2018. But, like, Alan Hines was always thereabouts.
Because 2020 happened, and like Dwayne didn't do Drift Masters for.
Dwayne did Drift Masters in 2019, and then 2020 happened, and then they were back in either 2021 or 2022. But
2021 was all the rounds were in Riga. No, they had 2 rounds. The 2020 season, if I can mind correctly,
there was only like 2 rounds or something.
And it was both at the French place,
possibly.
And then 2021, it was all at Riga. Possibly. And then 2022 was back the first full season.
Back to normal
I
again.
Think so.
I think something like that. But I know
Peter won 2021 and 2022.
I think Peter did win 2022, yes, because he came into 2023 as the reigning champion, and there was talk of him being the first back-to-back champion if he had to beat Conor Shanahan. Wasn't there?
Yes, I think. We need to look that up nearly.
I think that was the case. But like I sort of, like, Alan Hines being the driver of the caliber he is, I was like, right.
I assumed he would clean up.
I was thinking he's going to clean up. Now, the talent that come in behind after them boys was obviously also very, very strong. But Alan Hines is a very, very well-deserving driver. Like, so, you know, good to see he get in there as well. Like, was chatting to his rival, Harry Kerr, as well for a while, along with Stephen Halferty for a while. So Harry he done Kerry with a broken hand.
That's some going, like.
That's mental.
That's unbelievable.
And the bad luck didn't stop there. They had problems with the van on the whole weekend as well.
Fuck.
Pretty sure the van broke down the way there. They'd have to take like Lee Scott's van or something in the end, or something about it. Like, he had no luck that whole weekend. So to come out second in the Drivers' Championship, given all that happened, fair play.
Fair dues.
And Harry's a good pilot as well anyway, so... but to be fair, Alan Hines, like, definitely well deserved up there with some of the best drivers in the world.
Now,
I'll tell you one other thing just before. There's a wild pile of swapping cars going on.
I was about to just say that. You bollocks.
But even... Well, are you going to talk about Kevin Quinn and Bagsy?
Not even that. Was it not Dwayne was going out for the top 8 battle?
Dwayne's car, I think they were worried that there wasn't going to be enough fire extinguishers in the whole vicinity of Mondello.
Well, what was going wrong with it, do you know?
She was just sure she started getting warm. She done one run, I think, on the Sunday, and in practice, and I don't think they seen the car out again after that.
Oh, really?
Or maybe it was a Saturday, I can't completely remember, it's a bit blurred now, but I remember him pulling out at one point, and it was like, oh shit, what's happened here?
I thought it was maybe his gearbox on the way out.
No, can't remember what happened, to be honest, but it was... I remember him having to pull out. The next thing, because we were looking, because the thing about the live stream is it doesn't show you who the driver name was, and then like we were like, why is Fionn Roche out again? And like Connor Shanahan was out in like Fionn Roche's car, and then like Dwayne McKeever, I think, was out in Dwayne McKeever went out in Jack Shanahan's car.
He did,
and then Kevin Quinn and Bagsy just decided to swap cars.
For the badness of it,
for the pure just
and giggles.
Yeah, and then like. Kevin, I was like, Bagsy won that round because we couldn't hear any of the commentary.
So you were like, right.
So
yes.
I was like, Bagsy won that round. I was like, Kevin Quinn won this round. I was like, but Bagsy clearly won. He was driving far better than Kevin. And then you heard them just Kevin going, right, give me my car back. And I was like, right, that makes sense. So Kevin beat Bagsy in Bagsy's car. And then, funny, just on the topic of Bagsy, there was a lad. So back in the day, I used to be, well, still am a member, but it's a lot quieter now than it used to be. But there used to be this online group called Violent Click.
Yeah.
Do you remember that from back in the day whenever I was like all stancy and shit? And
it wasn't that long ago, Michael. Well, maybe that was that long.
Violent 9 years, maybe 10 years.
So that time that you lost that fucking hat in the motorway.
That was like 2017 or 2018, Connor.
No, it wasn't because I was driving.
Oh, that was 2021. That's the last time.
So you had that hat 3 years?
No, I've had that hat 6 years. Sorry, I have that hat now 8 years because I got it in 2016. Johanny gave it to me in 2016.
Do you still have it?
Yeah.
Wow. There you go.
So it was like, I think over here it was me, Tom Kennedy and Calvin Kirby were all on it, and Killian were all on it. But we, like, there's a girl there called Tilly Gill, and she is on it as well. And I actually didn't realise her boyfriend also called Simon Kelly. So there was 2 Simon Kellys in the same photo arena at the same time. And so then I was like, I was speaking to Tilly after. I was like, I didn't realise that was your man until like this evening there. I was like, whenever he followed us then on on TikTok, you see.
Yes.
And I was like, shit, that's who that is. And because I remember we were standing there at one point and both Simons were beside each other, and I just was like, would the real Simon Kelly please stand up? Because there was the 2 of them, like, and it's just funny, like, how there's like all these people and everybody's like intertwined some way or another, and you just don't know the connections.
Yes. Until
like you're like, shit, there's such and such, and there was such and such, and your man, like, I think he was out. Yeah, he was out with Bagsy, and the other lad, is it an M2 or an M3? George.
Yeah.
I'd never really heard of him. To be fair, I know very little about him, and obviously, pardon me, obviously we're going to be biased to the Irish drivers in the grid. A couple of other comments to sort of pass on. I don't think Sam got a fair chance
with the MX-5.
With MX-5, it's so underpowered compared to everybody else. It's like, wow, 1.6 turbo making 250 horsepower, and then you've got like Dwayne 900, James Dean 900, like Kevin Quinn, whatever he's rocking. Like even like Laurie Heineken. Well, Laurie Heineken blew up Josh's engine.
Oh,
the low brain drift car blew up. Had to be towed off track.
I am near sure he said in the live stream, just heard bad noise and just went, that's not good. And I said that was his third V8 he's blew up this year.
Laurie?
Well,
he blew up his own.
Aye. And that could be the second engine he's had this year.
Oh?
I don't know, he just said he blew up a couple of engines this year.
And now he's blowing up Josh's as well.
Yeah, he apologised for it, and then they were like, oh, that's okay. We now have another engine for it.
There aren't. I'd want them to keep I'd want them to keep a V8 in the low
I know
brain
they
car.
have a V8.
Have they another V8?
That they were going to put into the Corvette, mind, and then the Corvette, obviously.
Yeah, go figure. So there was that, but there was also. Did you see Dave Baskin's little A86? I think it's actually an A85. It's a booter, the pink one.
Yes,
SR20.
Very cool.
That thing didn't. That thing. This is the thing, Sam. In the MX-5, like that thing's 250 brake, and obviously not a heavy car, but whatever. Like that's an SR20 in that A86 or A85 or whatever that Dave Baskin was driving, or Dave Baston or whatever his name was. That thing, like he didn't really ever seem to be struggling for speed the same way Sam was.
Oh really?
Yeah, from what I'd noticed anyway. And maybe that car was 350 brake for all we know, so maybe it was just. I
think it was 350 or 360. Yeah,
it's quick enough then that the power to weight would be better compared to Sylvia or whatever. Then
yes.
One other final comment about the Sunday, and this is just because this actually ties into Aidan Carr posted during the week. So we were talking about people being dicks online and stuff like that. So I posted that video of literally it's James Dean, possibly, if you look at medals and trophies, probably statistically the best drifter in the world.
Ever, yes.
Yes, and Martin Richards.
Yes.
Who is an absolute Goliath.
He is the OG.
He is one of the top brass, in drifting. And the pair of them go out in AS200s and put them AS200s where no man should or could be putting them, we're talking Ryan O'Toole and Colin Phoenix back here.
Yes, around Mondello.
Around Mondello, so probably second or third gear.
Which, to be fair, them other fellas, it'd be interesting to see if they could do
that. Correct, it would. But,
even Ryan's oil bottle on the engine, but sure, that would...
and someone still... It's literally James Dean and Martin Richards. Two of the best drifters in the world, and someone still comments saying that's shit, and a second person commented, I literally seen a girl do better at my crossroads, and I'm like, no you haven't.
Yes,
you literally haven't.
But at the same time, social media is just another way for somebody, they wouldn't say that to your face,
of course not,
but it's handy to say it, on a form of social media.
It just annoys me when people do the likes of that. I see that and I just go, you're a twat. But so that's. I didn't really want to spend too much time on the Lexus because we've already talked about it. It's already on the TikTok and all anyway. But to be fair, I was buzzing for that. Literally all day, I was kind of my thing. I kept saying, "What about the Lexus? Where's the Lexus?"
At the end of the day,
it's on brand for us. So.
Yes, for us, but more so is the fact that you're never going to see that. Two top drivers in standard cars.
Yes.
To see how it would go. Cool idea. It paid off.
the fact that
they're a bit fucked from it. But sure, at the end of the day, like, there's fucking gearboxes probably cost more than them 2 cars cost together.
I'd say the video, like, YouTube views will have paid for them 2 cars. No bother, like,
probably.
you know, like, and it's the fact that, like, it's a testament to Dave and Adam.
Actually, sorry. Yes, the highlight of the weekend for me. Sorry, just before I take it off, is Adam LZ came out in Taylor boots.
Yes.
A New Holland jacket.
Yes.
I seen that. Nice man.
Literally wearing the dealer boots here now at the minute.
Lad.
Yes, lad.
That's class.
Honestly,
the only thing that would have topped it off would have been a super dry jumper.
Or super dry polo.
Or
the collar
even better, if you had have come out in blue jeans with the boots, the coat, and a bottle of bucky.
Because he had the Lexus there.
And I'd have just done that.
But you know what? That's what I'm saying is, like, fair play to Dave and Adam for, like, marketing that.
Oh, wow.
And that to me, and if I said this actually on the Maximum Driftcast page, was it's an event that brings the best drivers in the world, but it doesn't take itself too seriously.
No, like, look at the Shanahans whenever they were doing their battle. They were fucking, like, you know, they were doing transitions that, you know, if they done in Drift Masters, they would win the battle no bother at all. Like, Connor took half his front bumper off.
Yeah.
But as they were saying, like,
they don't care.
They were having the crap.
They're just out for fun, like, because it means nothing. And I seen a couple of comments under the same post, like I'd commented on, and they were saying stuff like, "Oh, you know, this needs to turn into a proper series, and like, when are you gonna do like 8 events instead of 4?" And I was like,
"That's not the point."
Yeah, I was like, "You don't want it." Well, A, it would clash with all the calendars.
Yeah.
Like, B, they're literally taking it around the world. Now, maybe they could put somewhere else, another event in somewhere else. Like, to be fair, if it went to Japan, that would be class to watch. But
yeah.
Japanese drifting is, as we've seen with Risuki Akiba, like, Japanese drifting is so different.
It seems to be more for style.
Style, yeah.
Europe seems to be for speed.
Fluidity, I would say. Like, you know, big, massive, insane angle might not necessarily win you a battle because you want to be going fast and you want to be fluid, and there's none of this, like, you know, big angle, bam, big transition. It's like fast, nice angle, smooth transition. You know,
America, the judging seems to be a bit
questionable
at times from what I have gathered. I don't really
maybe
watch
we're biased, I don't know, but I wouldn't really watch much FD. Apologies to anybody if they have come here from the Maximum Driftcast. It's not something we watch a lot of. I do keep up to date with it, like, you know, who's won and what not all, but
like, everybody's going to have their own opinion, but my own opinion would be Drift Masters seems to be the top at the minute. Formula D, don't know, there's just it feels like it's missing the X factor at the minute.
I would love to see the likes of Chelsea Denova and even like the likes of Ryan Turek and Forrest Wang and all those guys come out and
Frederick Asbo has a European car but will not do Europe because he says it's not up to scratch. It's like fucking 800 horsepower, you know.
Right, what's is it? Is it a Supra?
It was
GR Supra
GT86.
Oh,
do you mean he had it at Red Bull drift shifters?
That's right.
Like, that's not a fucking slow car.
No, Drift Masters now. I know FD they do it as well, but Drift Masters, they're running nitrous now.
To be honest with you, right, it's probably never going to happen. But what really would need to happen is
World Series.
A World Series. And
or Europe versus America or something like that.
And the best bit of it probably I would also say is have 5 judges, right? And have 2 from America, 2 from Europe, and 1 Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you're still going to have your 3 versus 2. Mm-hmm. So you'll still have a winner, and you will do away with all this, the judging's pure Irish based, judging's pure
American
Poland
based.
And all that thing. You know, and you'll have the element of the Japanese in there too.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that would be...
And like 1 round in Japan, 1 round in America, and 1 round in Europe.
Yeah.
Will that ever happen? Probably not.
Probably not. But I do think
they tried the Drift Intercontinental Cup, but it's just
it's too much in terms of in terms of logistics. Like, it works well. The LZ Tour World Tour works well because it's not the same drivers competing in every event.
No, that's true.
You know, like, we obviously, for Ireland, you know, you had 50% of the drivers were Irish, and then, you know, they have like a lot of the friends, you know, Jimmy Oakes, you know, etc.
Well, then,
but they're not competing in their own cars.
What I think as well then is what you should do is for the likes of that, like say a World Drift Series, top 20 from Formula Drift qualify, top 20 from Drift Masters qualify, top 20 from FD Japan qualify, right? Because I would say they're the three main biggest series, right?
Okay. Is it not D1 GP?
Or D1 GP,
D1
right?
GP, yeah.
So you have top 20 means that you have the winner, obviously. So there's 60 drivers battling for, you know, qualifying through for the top 32, and then at least you have.
But it's not cost effective for these people. What I'm saying is it's barely cost effective enough for these guys to trail their cars around Europe. Yes, it's probably slightly easier for the Americans because, you know,
I understand that.
For Japanese to take their cars to us, or for us to take our cars to Japan, or Americans to take their car to Japan, it's just nuts.
Look, we're fucking here, and like we're in an ideal world here. Like, this is a
ideal world, absolutely.
But I think it would very much put out there who is actually the best, because if you have judges from all the different series,
but then what you'd have to say is, well,
and everybody on the same tyre.
Same tyre, yes, but what I would say is D1 GP is different to the likes of FD or.
No, I understand that too as well.
You know,
but you'd have one judge from there, or you could maybe have it as 7 judges.
Possibly. What I'm saying is Europeans and Americans will struggle with Japanese rules because Ryosuke Akiba is by no means a bad driver. Like,
do you think he'll do Drift Masters next year?
I don't know. I don't know.
His car's still here, like.
Yeah.
What way is D1 GP different?
Until recently, I don't think they actually. It's either. I'm not enough of a nerd to qualify. Not a nerd. I'm not enough versed in the technicalities of Japanese drifting to really go fully into this. But I believe it's only recently they've even started having outer zones. So for them, it was all about big angle and then inner clips.
Okay.
Whereas outer zones was kind of like at your own discretion. So it's only like in the last while that now they have. I'd need to look it up.
Fair enough.
I remember Dave talking about it on one of their when they went out to Japan.
Yeah.
And he was saying about how the style was different. And as I say, Ryosuke's not a bad driver.
No, he's not.
But it's that style of he's coming in his head, he's like, right, I need big angle here to impress. Whereas there's other guys coming in with less angle, but obviously they're more on the line. And
now, whenever I'm talking about that, like, say, for instance, like, obviously there's normally 3, I've said 5, say 7 judges. It means then that you can have them judge for that, Americans judge for what they believe in, and then it would have a mixture. And 4 versus 3, you're always going to win.
Yeah,
you're always
5
going to have a majority.
Plenty, but
then you want equal.
Yeah, true.
And in regards to Japan, you'd have the extra judge from Japan. In Europe, the extra judge from Europe, but they can't obviously. The maximum would be 3 judges.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 and 2 from the other 2. So really, you can't you still, even if the 3 judges vote it, you still need an overriding factor for another judge.
Yeah. Yeah. Suppose that might work.
You know, so like, say, yeah. Now, I don't know, like, obviously this is never going to happen. And I understand that there's different rule sets for the cars.
Yes.
So FD is a certain rule set and that for like tyres and that, but you would obviously come to a rough common ground between all three.
You'd figure something out, I believe. But back to what I was saying about the people saying, oh, LZ World Tour needs to be made into a bigger event. Again, given the fact that Adam now competes in 2 of the major events,
major series.
Yes, sorry, major series. The whole idea of the LZ World Tour is that it's not.
It's for the crack.
It is for the crack,
and for a bit of enjoyment.
Yeah, and it's not. It's competitive on the day.
It's not taken seriously. There's nothing mad to gain out of it. It's not bragging rights.
It's not a series. Like, you don't lose points because you didn't go to LZ World Tour Canada, or you didn't go to Englishtown. It's the type of thing. Whereas James Dean, if James Dean went to Englishtown, he might actually be there in the same way. Chelsea Denova didn't compete this year, but he was star in the NASCAR. Like, James Dean might go out and do something like that. Like Dave Egan, for instance, drove this year LZ World Tour. He might now go out and commentate at Englishtown. The likes of that. So, it means there's no pressure on people to have to compete, and it means it can, like, so for Ireland they have the Lexuses. For America they could have like, two V8 muscle cars or something like that, or like Fox Body Mustangs or Pontiac Firebirds or something like that. There, I don't know, something for the crack that's American. In Australia they have 2 utes, kind of sort of thing. If they wanted to go down that same route, allows them to be flexible and allows them to be free.
Basically, people can do whatever the fuck they want. No rules.
And I am here for it. And I am completely here for it. So, will we conclude?
I was about to say, will we wrap it up?
Have you any following up big old skids or one wheel pills?
Probably biggest side skid I've had for a while is thought that the 3-car train was very cool at the LZ World Tour. Another big old skid. It's not on our podcast, but listen to the 2 Johnnies at their latest podcast out with Base Hunter.
Yes.
I have got to say, Jonah, what a fucking guy.
He's hilarious.
He's
so funny.
Like, if you haven't listened to it yet, I would very much go and watch their interview. Like, he does an excellent Lisburn accent.
So good. So good.
And he's cracking tunes. Other than that, really, no. What about yourself?
I have a couple. Do you know Mark Knapp with the 980? The Fiat 980 with like from Holland.
Ah, yes.
He started following us on like all the
deadly.
Yeah. So like, and he's someone who I've looked at and went, that build's so cool. Following on from that, did you see? I seen the best ever. This is the soft shell Adam LZ should have been wearing at LZ Fest, and it's actually Niraj Sharma, tradesman NA, had a soft shell that just said ATM removers. Has a picture of the digger in the back.
You took a TikTok?
I took a TikTok, but actually that stemmed from the night before. We were chatting to them in the Osprey.
Oh.
And they were all going out, and they all had the same soft shell on. Oh, they were blitzed. All of them. They goes, because we were standing down chatting to them in the restaurant, me and Bagger were getting food.
Most people staying in the Osprey like before?
I didn't see a single person that I recognised in the Osprey. I have no idea where they stayed. It's hard to know, because I had said, I would, and this is actually a proper one-wheel pill, is I would say, even if I have the Sierra down this year, I might just drive it to the hotel. Well, 2 cars got stolen this year. One of them got stolen off the street of Nice, and I don't know if it's been found yet. It was the JZX100 Mark II. The Evo, there's an Evo 9 stolen. I'd seen it at the show. He's from up here. It's your man that runs, have you ever heard of Showworks?
Yeah.
It's your man that runs Showworks. That's his Evo. And it was stolen. And they found it 200 metres down the road in another car park. I don't know what the crack is with that one. Whether they just realised they couldn't break into it or whatever.
Well, it was 200 metres down the road in another car park. They must have.
They've tried to do something anyway. Apparently it was in another car park. But like it's the Malvern in Dublin. It's supposed to be like manned. It has like a barrier. So, but obviously you can just buy a ticket and put your ticket. You can buy a ticket and put your ticket in. So it doesn't really.
I suppose you never really think that way.
Yeah,
huh?
That one about that JZX 100 Mark II. It's like a two-tone style one. Yeah. It looked like the old Drift Games one.
Is it not a G?
That was a GX 100.
Oh right, I know, because the colours don't match to the Drift Games one.
Yeah, I think it was,
and it looked like the same wheels that was on the Drift Games one.
I'm near sure that car has a JZ in it now, but I could be wrong. I often am, but like that's just a second or two to have that happen.
And it was never found.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything about it since. Maybe by the time this podcast comes out, it maybe will have been found. But it's just a shame that stuff like that happens. But I know they were extra vigilant in the Osprey for that reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we were talking to the security manager. She happened to be outside and we were walking over to the Nace Court. And she was very much like, yeah, look, we're keeping security tight in this place and anybody about will be asked to leave. Because there was, a couple of years ago, there was a car stole from the underground in here. And the year we were there was a chaser stole.
Fuck off.
Blue chaser.
So the year we were parked there was a
chase. Yeah, because I remember Crath. Did he have the Laurel down? Did he take us back in the Laurel or something? Because I think you drove the Civic over, and then Crath went over in the Laurel. He parked the Laurel downstairs, and I remember him saying, "Well, apparently there was a chaser stole out of there that night." Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So your woman said.
And funny, that. I can mind the bouncer at the door that night had took a TikTok of my car. Aye. Because for a Communion show, I was
definitely the 2022 night out after. Although, like, me and Beck had finished up earlier this year. Like, I think the first year we were out to 3:30 or something.
Oh, cool. It was probably about 2. What time did you go home at this year?
Oh, like 12:30.
Oh, we went out at 12:30 last year.
2 years ago, you mean?
No, last year.
Last year? I know we went out late last year, but that's because we were in the...
And we were caught after half an hour, like.
We were in the Lawler last year, weren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, so we were there for ages. And then we decided
no
to go
car
on
could have got out of the Lawler's hotel.
No.
Not that low anyway. And just to break the fourth wall, I had finished there. Mike was like, I forgot to say something.
I did.
So what did you forget to say, Michael?
Connor, I'm very, very disappointed.
What are you disappointed?
Very, very upset. Well,
Mike,
do you know why Dave Egan has announced his retirement from Driftmasters commentating?
Oh fuck, I know where this is going.
I haven't got the call yet to say that I've been asked to do it, and I'm very not happy about it.
Is this the commentating Driftmasters?
Yeah.
Look at this fucking tit.
Can you imagine it?
Ian Warrington, but I guess here, I am not doing an English accent, but like Laura Hine and like throws it into the ball, and then you'd be like, "Us here."
That is unreal.
Not even that. You'd be like, and Laurie and Dwayne come to the line, but if it was me personally,
and if they were in a Sierra.
So Laurie and Dwayne pulled the line, but Laurie supposedly is still running the same V8 as he was last year. But then he blew it up. But then like if it was me personally, I would do this, that, and the other. And Dwayne there, you see he's going far, and they've clipped the cone. They've clipped the cone. See, folks, this forces a restart. If you don't know what a restart means, basically because he clipped the cone.
Oh, and they finished their run. Shit.
I've laughed that hard now. I'm worse.
So yeah, disappointed with that.
Well,
but wrap it up.
Yeah,
happy enough.
So thanks very much, folks, if you have got this far into this episode 45 of the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, and comment. Michael will now reply to you, as I have seen he's done so very recently.
Yeah.
And if you're watching on Spotify, please subscribe or do whatever you do on Spotify. It would be really appreciated.
You just follow on Spotify, don't you?
I don't know.
The bell notification or something, or is that YouTube?
I don't know. Well, if you want notified, but every other Sunday we have the stuff out. But still, if you forget about it, it'd be really nice if you hit the bell notification. Also, if you want to follow the podcast at Limited Slip Differences in all forms of social media, including TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram.
Yep.
I don't think we have anything else. Google Plus and all that doesn't exist anymore.
YouTube's Limited Slip Differences as well.
I just said YouTube anyway.
You said Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Yes, but they watch this on YouTube.
Oh yeah, yeah, that'd be right enough. Yeah.
If you want to keep Michael right and you want to follow his stuff, he's at Michael_Scullin.
Nope, Michael Scullin _.
Fuck you, right? Michael Scullin _ on Instagram. On Facebook, he's Michael Scullin, and on TikTok, he doesn't use it. No point. And me, don't even bother because there's no point. But if you want to provide moral support, I'm Connor.Magoo on all social media. Though I got hacked recently, and well, Michael posts for me, and then he tags me and stuff, and I just appear on it. So that's it. Thanks very much for listening, everybody. I've tried to exit this. I've tried to end this podcast.
You're doing a me and constantly over-explaining.
Yeah, I'm trying to do a Michael here without, doing the whole this, that, and the other. So, on that note, it's time to end.
Best of luck, folks. See
you later. Have a nice Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your day. And if you're listening to this on a Monday, enjoy the rest of Monday.
And so on for every other day of the
week. Yes. And if you're listening to this in a year's time,
get caught up, would you? Come on.